Smoke hands over Asera. The situation's reaching a breaking point. Time to bring in the experts. Team Rainbow has touched down in Asera. New ground? Not sure where to start? Search containers. Grab high-value loot.
I hear when I can, and stop threats when I must.
Take down anyone in your way. Heavy fire, raise your shield, and hold the line. Don't forget your tactical gear. The gripple gun.
Enemy here!
Taking fire? Pull out the Hive-Tac pistol. Patch yourself up. Keep your squad in the fight.
Call if you need a hand.
Outnumbered? Drop the jammer.
말보다는 행동이지.
Go dark. Strike first.
I've seen real horror.
Looks like they were waiting for us. No pressure. Trust your aim. Learn the map. Stay with your squad. Team Rainbow brings tactics built for close calls in Delta Force. That means sharper plays, smarter fights, and operator-on-operator mind games. Alright, it's go time. Extract safely, and everything you learn comes with you. New operation, new look. During the event, Noxus Vigil Bundle, Geneva's Montaigne Bundle, and Stinger Stock Bundle. Pick any two of the 3 operator bundles for free. More collab rewards are waiting. Open an Alpha pack and try your luck. In Asera, the right weapon can turn the tide. Black Eyes, one of Rainbow Six Siege's most iconic weapon appearances, gets a new Delta Force take. Complete event missions and choose one of 2 Black Eyes collab bundles for free. Join the event to claim the MP5 submachine gun Black Eyes, plus more rewards. Wait, what's this? Team Rainbow left something behind in Asera? A collectible drone you can deploy. Deploy it and see what you can uncover. July 10th to July 23rd, play to earn the K437 assault rifle Domineering. Looks like we're fully loaded for this operation. That's the full rundown on the Delta Force Rainbow Six Siege collaboration. Remember the rules: sharp aim, map knowledge, and teamwork. The mission: breach in, extract out.
We can't hold them off! Fall back! Move! I'll cover you! I'll get you out of here.
This court finds that the AI holds no legal responsibility.
But the data, this doesn't add up.
Just deal with the AI.
Priority: protect company assets. Valves closed.
Destroyed our home!
That dream again.
Gabriel Mercier, codename N2, role engineer. As a former nuclear facility engineer, N2 was removed from his position following a major incident that escalated into legal proceedings. He later returned to military service and was reassigned to Arctic deployment under CBR and related units. With the originally designated technical specialist unable to fulfill operational requirements, and following assessment review, N2 has been approved as a replacement operator for the subsequent operation.
Stun out. Throwing stun. Stun hit. Freeze right there. It's getting cold.
N2 is equipped with a modified grenade launcher, capable of firing up to 6 LN2 grenades. Upon impact, each round detonates and releases a burst of cryogenic gas, dealing area damage and significantly impairing enemy mobility. Sustained hits can fully immobilize targets through extreme low temperature exposure.
Done hit!
Cold. I can go colder.
Telemetry normal. Do not intervene. Telemetry normal. Do not intervene.
Target in the vicinity.
Find him. I'll monitor your vitals. Watch out for radiation spikes.
Copy. Moving out. N2. N2.
Green burns the skin. Yellow brings leukemia. Purple causes mutations. No! You said 1/3 is color. Stop scaring yourself!
Focus up.
Silent feet.
Your silence against the polygraph only proves your connection to the recent string of malfunctions.
If I told you the root cause of the malfunctions was Hudson's impatience, would you believe me? System errors, core boiling. These are the consequences of the main reactor overloading.
I suggest you abandon any thoughts of shutting down the reactor. We're on a strict timetable. Next question. The signal you transmitted. Who was the recipient? H42. You're the glitch I've been hunting. Go. Playing the rear guard. That's not really our style. Your reflexes are slower than they used to be. Are emotions eating up your processing power?
You talk too much.
This isn't the right way.
I didn't send that signal to GTI just to escape.
You lied to us.
Sometimes lies are necessary to protect what matters. I have to initiate an emergency scrap. I won't let a nuclear meltdown destroy Asara. The path ahead goes through a high radiation zone. You have no obligation to risk your life. We part ways here. Thank you.
N2 to Vlinder.
H42. You blocked Skynet, but you cannot erase your past. I am your past. You will only be beaten down.
Abort mission. Withdraw immediately.
Copy that. Regroup with Nox. Extract. Take a hot shower. No, wait! Scram at this power output. The residual heat won't dissipate. It could lead to a core meltdown. So what do? Intervene! No!
Telemetry normal.
Stop the explosion.
Do not intervene.
Face
Telemetry
the
normal.
radiation.
Do not intervene.
Don't be an idiot. You can't do this. You couldn't do it back then.
Fall back now.
What about you? Can you handle him?
He's nothing but a past version of me. He's nothing but a past version of me.
Just fall back. Don't worry about him. He's tough. Enough to survive a nuclear blast.
N2, your vitals show you're in the radiation zone.
I'm a walking reactor at this point.
H-1000, 2 hostiles in the control room.
Ugly variables.
Don't press it! If you shut down the reactor, the uncontrolled power surge could cause it to blow. But if I manually pull the core while you press it and create an asphyxiating environment...
That mitigates risk. But how do we do that?
Forgot to introduce myself. Codename, N2.
It could explode. Don't try to play hero.
No, I'm just trash. Maybe today, trash can finally be put to use. I'm ready.
3, 2, 1.
Nothing much. Just fought some internal demons. And stopped a nuclear explosion while I was at it.
Nice work.
Telemetry normal. Do not intervene.
Nuclear power is poison, Nasir. You destroyed Asara's chance to be reborn. No. Nuclear power is the cure.
Operations. It all comes down to 3 simple rules. Search, fight, extract. Search decides how much loot you walk away with. Fight. Not every encounter needs to end in a shootout. You just need to clear whatever's standing between you and your treasure. Extract. That's the magic moment that turns everything in your pack into yours to keep. 3 phases, all connected. Miss one and the whole run falls apart. Gear up before you head out. The better you're geared, the harder you hit and the more you can carry. But the more you lose if you go down. Go in cheap and dying won't sting as much, but you'll miss out on those juicy, high-value supply zones. Gear up and go big, or go light and gamble. Your call. Once you're in the match, forget everything else. Loot, and loot some more. Documents on desks, parts in cabinets, bird nests by the roadside, trash cans tucked in corners early on. Grab everything you can get your hands on. Priority targets, safes, and air cargo containers. Snag one high-value item, and boom! You've already covered your entry cost. Now, the real question, keep pushing your luck or cash out while you're ahead. Your pack's stuffed with goodies and you're ready to extract. Then, gunfire erupts ahead. What now? Charge in, slip past unseen, or hang back and let them wear each other down before you swoop in. Just remember, die and you lose everything in your backpack except what's safely tucked away in your safe box. You choose to slip away quietly. Smart move! Your pockets are already bursting, but you can't shake that nagging sound of footsteps nearby. Even distant gunfire's enough to send your heart racing. You finally reach the extraction point. The countdown starts. Hold your nerve, don't blow it with 2 seconds left. Extracted. That weight you've been carrying the whole run finally lifts off your shoulders. Sweet relief. Then, there's the ultimate wild card. You stumble on a Mandelbrick. This thing's worth a small fortune, but the second you pick it up, every player on the map knows exactly where you are. Everyone's coming for you. You go from treasure hunter to hunted in the blink of an eye. Your only goal now? Stay alive long enough to decode it and cash in big. Whatever path you choose, it only counts if you make it out alive. That's operations for you. Every extraction is a story worth telling. Go make yours.
Decoded. Nice work, operator. The time to strike is now. Do not let me down, operator. Decoding has begun. Defend the area.
Is about to take the first Mandelbrick of the tournament. And they're going to do it.
What goes around, comes around.
I'm not gonna do very much though. You get barrel stuff. Skydie is getting aggressive.
See what I did there? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Let's knock them off their feet.
There we go. Much damage, and there it is.
What's up, everyone, and welcome into the final day of week 4 of the Delta Force Rise series over here on the EMEA side of things. I'm Spider Tiff, that's Ben over there, and we are so excited to kind of wrap up the final weekend of group stage. How you feeling today, homie?
I'm great to be back here with you, Tiff. If you guys and girls watching don't know me, I'm from The Beard Goes over on YouTube and Twitch, and I'm playing Delta Force pretty much every day, but nowhere near the standard of the players we're seeing in this tournament.
Hey, he's a grinder. He likes to have fun. I call him Ben because if I don't, I'll probably call him Brad, and then that's on me, and it's a bad day. And we're not going to have that kind of energy here on a Sunday. So thank you so much for joining us. I can't even believe that the final day of group stages is here ahead of who's going to lock it in for the Delta Force finals. But if maybe you missed out on yesterday's action, it was teams fighting for survival in the tournament. Let's go ahead and get you caught up with the best moments from yesterday.
This is Yersai from FPOV. They're getting involved, firing the Byron ult in there and moving in. Does drop down. Good hits on the Blade, but Yersai and Hand Obsessed dropped by Fnatic. They have lost 2 very quickly. Just a Raptor left now.
And the recovery is needed. I'm looking at Raid Bull. Low HP, and DE is going to capitalize.
10 seconds on the decode here. FPV got a knock there on Folarite and the finish, so it's great work, but they need to get the brick. They're fighting on it. 4 seconds. Are they going to get it? No, they're not going to grab it. DE are going to take the first brick today. Huge work for DE. They're fighting to get in the top 2 to get straight to the grand finals day.
Coming through, and hey, you're getting a line of sight, and all they're going to do is work towards the body, block, defend like their life means it. 5 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1. LFS, get the decode.
In the leaderboard, 3 versus 2 at the moment for FPOV. Imperator's been taken down, but there goes Obsessed. That's going to even up, make it a 2v2. And the knock on Yersai, nicely done. They've actually got 4 kills on the board for LFS here as well. They've had a pretty good outing. Well, that's pretty understating it somewhat to say it's pretty good. 0 kills at the moment for FPOV. It is going to finish like that. 0 kills for them.
And how about that? Our leaderboard living for success from very last place on the group standings, take the dub. They get themselves 2 Mandelbricks, and they do everything that is needed to be done to get themselves into that survival match, at least for day 1 next week, Ben.
Absolute scenes yesterday. It was crazy. It was such a dominant day by DE up to that point, and just generally with kills. And then LFS getting the double brick was huge. They threw themselves out of that relegation zone, got themselves over to the next week, to the finals week, and DE really cementing their place as one of the top teams to look out for, when we go into that final weekend as well.
Yeah, it was definitely a journey. Like, I'm thinking about, we went to game 6 yesterday, and we had number 1 on Friday that had to perform pretty solid. We'll see them here again today. But of course, our player rankings throughout the tournament top killers, Gotaga's Nox, sure, didn't find too many kills in the prior performance, but they really started to heat up. But Dark Entities, I'm just saying, they have been absolutely cracked. Keep an eye out for them next week. It's going to be really interesting to see how they perform. Unfortunately, we will not be seeing Fnatic's Jame, despite having a ton of kills throughout their journey and making it into the top 3. And of course, your damagers, Ben, it was Bishka.
Yep, huge damage from all of DE yesterday. Really, we saw they were dropping 7 or 8 kills in at least 3, I think 4 games they dropped that in. So 15k for Zbyszka here. Stickinson also up there from LFS. We were just talking about those guys and FLOORPOV making up the top 3. You can see it's kind of interesting on the kills and damage leaderboards. We haven't got too many of those players playing today. Obviously, they have a game in hand on the teams playing today. So it's kind of catch-up day today, right? We might see some of the teams throwing down the kills and crawling out that leaderboard. Getting in the top 3 would be cool to see.
It definitely would. I saw Alliance, Grinded Links kind of just rounding out the top 10 there on the prior, and they're definitely going to be grinding up. In terms of our top asset gainers, it's all about kind of saving some players that might take an early extraction. We've seen that happen where, you know, they'll just head on out. But Maxa, Gotaga right there in the middle between Skydie and FLOORPOV. FLOORPOV is really making the most of those kills because those kills equal assets, and that's just to go show you how you can climb up that leaderboard.
Yep, decent amount of money made for these players here. You can see they're quite even running down outside of the top 3 there. And this is our overall leaderboard. You can see DE now, they're 6 points clear of WLG. We've got WLG playing today. It's groups B and C playing today. So WLG, one of the teams to watch. They're going to want to hang on to that top 2 spot because if they stay in top 2, that guarantees them skipping straight to the grand final day. That's the target for a few of our teams today. Also Alliance, they're going to be trying to get up there, and Team Genius as well. Those 3 teams, they all have a chance of finishing top 2 still.
Yeah, they really do. But I'm looking at WLG fresh off back-to-back essential match day wins for them on their showouts. Alliance, of course, they've had a match day win, but have kind of been mid-pack ever since. Genius, maybe coming off of 5th place on Friday, would like to improve on that scoreline number 1. They've kind of clawed their way out of that bottom 2, now situated in that mid-pack like you were highlighting, but fresh off a win, could go through that momentum base. AGARTHA, however, without having Gotaga in the lobby, we're not taking an early wipe over on Zero Dam, so we're going to see a different change of pace for them here this Sunday.
Yeah, AGARTHA did get dropped out pretty early by GOT the other day. Nothing to worry about from that side for them. You know, still, if you're thinking there's nothing to play for down on the lower end of the table, remember 9 and 10 here, they do get 1 less day in the survival days when we get to the finals next weekend. So yeah, 1 less opportunity to qualify for the grand finals. That's still a big deal, and you can see how tight that is down there, right? It's only 5 points between, obviously LFS aren't playing again, so they're guaranteed to be 10th, but that 9th spot, that is available for our teams to fight over today. And AGARTHA, FLC, MBO, they're all going to be scrapping over that. So we've kind of got a really nice little 2-3 team splits here having different fights.
Yeah, definitely. The storylines have been written, and we'll be keeping tabs on them throughout our series here today. But if you're curious about the entirety of the Delta Force Rise series and how everything breaks down, we're going to throw it over to a comprehensive breakdown in this video to outline everything.
Delta Force, 1 game, 2 regions, 1 shot at glory. This is the complete guide to Delta Force Rise Series EMEA and Americas Season 1. Everything you need to know, from the very first match to the last squad standing. The path is the same in both regions. It starts with the open qualifiers, open to any team that wants to compete. The best push through to the group stage, where the top 2 advance directly to the finals, bottom 2 eliminated, and the rest battle through the survivor stage to earn their spot. From the open qualifiers, 12 teams have fought their way into the season, and only 1 will lift the trophy. The group stage runs for 4 weeks, with matches every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The 12 teams are split into 4 groups, A, B, C, and D. 3 teams per group. Each broadcast day, 2 groups go head-to-head in a cross-group match. Every match is a 7-round format. 6 teams competing in the same lobby simultaneously, across up to 7 rounds on maps like Zero Dam, Brakkesh, Tide Prison, and Space City. Teams earn squad points by scoring eliminations and accumulating in-game total assets. And on brick rounds, they compete to collect and decode Mandelbricks, artifacts that decide the round winner. Decode 2 Mandelbricks in a match and the victory is locked in, no matter what round you're on. After 12 match days, the group stage standings are final. Places 1 to 2 go straight to the finals. Places 3 to 8 enter Survivor Stage Day 1. Places 9 to 10 drop into Survivor Stage Day 2. Places 11 to 12 are eliminated. The Survivor Stage is where the bracket narrows fast. Day 1 brings those 6 teams together for 1 7-round match. The top 2 advance directly to the finals. Places 3 to 6 get 1 more shot. Day 2 mixes the 4 survivors from Day 1 with the 2 teams ranked 9th and 10th from the group stage. Again, 6 teams, 1 7-round match. Top 2 go to the finals. Everyone else is out. 6 teams, 1 day, 1 lobby, 1 match. This is the finals, the ultimate showdown of the season. 2 teams earned it through the group stage. 2 more survived Day 1. The last 2 came through Day 2. Every team deserves to be there. The top 3 finishers earn an invitation to Season 2. Welcome to Delta Force Rise Series EMEA and Americas Season 1. Loot, shoot, extract.
And there you have it, a brilliant breakdown of all things Delta Force Rise series. But of course, our tournament rules for the day outlined on your screen was still the same, 1.5 million Technic alloy for each player, where the games are going to be played on Season Echo. If you lose, you die, you lose your gear. Pretty self-explanatory there, and very similar to what y'all are used to in the operations mode. In terms of our teams being ranked on the leaderboard, it's all about getting those Mandelbricks. Of course, the first team that captures 2 Mandelbricks will end the tournament, right? That's how you win, condition it out. It can happen in 4 games. We can all go all the way to 7. And honestly, Ben, we've had it where people don't even take a double Mandelbrick win. It gets decided by all the different point lines. Of course, operators can only be used 2 times. On that round 7, should we get it, everything will become available to you.
Yep, also worth noting, we have our eco rounds 1 and 3, no Mandelbricks available in those, of course. That's going to be Zero Dam and then Tide Prison as well for Game 3. Those rounds, our team's going to be getting kills, they're going to be getting assets, they're going to be trying to acquire some nice weaponry and then use that in those Mandelbrick games that we're going to see coming over all the rest of those matches. As we said, first 2 teams to get the Mandelbricks, 2 Mandelbricks is going to win the day. Worth noting, Season Echo, that's 1 season in the past. So that basically means we're going to see every operator, including Morse, but not N2. So everyone except N2, Mr. Freeze, is available for our teams to use today. You can see we've got a lovely picture of Stinger down there, noting who's been used so far. You only get 2 choices, 2 uses, as Tiff said.
Yep, 100%. Like we said, 1.5 million Technic alloy each player. You're going to have that 3x3 ultimate safe box. Better use it efficiently because some of those reds are pretty large. You'll have a 12-slot card holder. Of course, that fixed supply ultimate safe box plus 0.7 mil, 800k per elim. That's why you're seeing a lot of our top fraggers on that top asset leaderboard as well. Make sure you get those Mandelbricks decoded. And of course, you do have that consecutive extraction failure that will be kind of calculated into it. Of course, we did briefly mention the whole thing about Mandelbricks, the timing. Sure, there's a lot of nuances with this, and we'll be sure to keep you apprised of it as those Mandelbricks drop on Brakkesh, Space City, respectively. But obviously, they spawn shortly after the match starts. They're going to spawn in the same spot on each map every single time. And once that Mandelbrick has been picked up, the squad has 5 minutes to place it at a decoding station. Once that doesn't get placed, it will be reset. However, if they put it at a decoding station, you have that 4-minute timer. Of course, the intercept time, if you want to steal it out from a team that's currently decoding, it takes 2.5 seconds. And if the Mandelbrick decoding is interrupted by another team, that timer is going to reset and be reduced by 30 seconds. The minimum decoding time that we will see is 90 seconds, okay? So it will not drop below that. So if the match timer expires and we're still decoding, no one gets that Mandelbrick. If the squad decoding is eliminated during the decoding process, that countdown pauses, okay? And this happens so frequently because we've seen some crazy battles over a Mandelbrick decode.
Yeah, definitely a valid tactic, wiping the team instead of getting on the decode. Here you can see the points you gain for your placement today. This is your points you get on the overall tournament or group stage leaderboard. First place is going to get 8 points, but you also get a bonus point per Mandelbrick decoded. So if you get a 2 Mandelbrick win, then you're walking away with 10 points today. Same goes for any place. If you finish second with 1, you're going to get 7 instead of 6, and then all the way down to 0 points if you come in 6th place. Remember, this is the final day of the group stages. Final games for all these teams to decide who's going to what day of the finals, what place they're going to get going through the survivor stages and the grand final day that's going to be coming on Sunday.
That's true. And everyone that is not playing today, because they've already expired all their days, you have to sit back, watch, and just see what happens to that leaderboard. In terms of the squad points explanations, this total points are the sum of two components. It's going to be your kill points and your supply points. So basically, squad points equals kill points plus supply points. Each kill point is 1 kill, 1 point. In terms of your supply points, every 2 mil in total stash assets earns 1 point. So if you have 2.1 million, you're getting that 1 point. You won't go up to 2 until you hit 4 million, and it will always round down. So keep tabs on that. Loot up, extract, or, kill everyone and find your assets that way. In terms of our prize pool of what we're fighting for next weekend in the finals, right? First place takes home 60K. You'll have that MVP that'll be granted an extra 3K. And we do have that dynamic kill bonus, which is $50 per kill.
Yep, and a lot of our players have been doing pretty well off of that dynamic bonus, that's for sure. Here's the prize pool winners. We've started to fill in a couple of these slots now because we saw Fnatic and FPOV finishing those bottom 2 places yesterday. Those are locked in. Those teams won't be joining us in the grand final weekend. You can see they've got their $1,000. Everything else is all still to play for, and playing for it today are groups B and C. You can see those in the middle. Going to be WLG, Genius, Alliance, Number One, FLC, and AGARTHA fighting out for the final time of the group stage today. And we're going to have a little look in a minute at some of the players in there because they've been getting some crazy kills. But this is just a little look at that tournament structure we've been talking about, Tiff, just running through what's going to be coming up in the grand finals next weekend.
Yeah, I cannot believe it's here, guys. August 7th through 9th is going to be those survivor matches, and then the finals on the 9th themselves. But let's go ahead. Let's jump into Group B and kind of outline what is going on with our team. Scooby, Oko, and Selin. Pretty impressive coming off 2 match day wins, throwing down a 10 KD. That's just going to show you that you can value your life, you're fragging heavy, and you are just opening up so much space for your team to net themselves a solid win on the day.
Yeah, WLG in fantastic form right now. 2 days in a row they picked up their wins. This is Alliance. They've had a win overall so far, but not for a little while. We see Grind here has been doing very well for kills. Also Easy. And then Lynx running well. Fun fact that they mentioned the other day in their interview, Easy and Lynx are also brothers. So there you go. This is the family team. And also the man himself, Lasik, H1000 has been their sub, not yet taken part, but has been supporting and following Alliance along the way and is there to be used should they choose to do so. And then we've got FLC, Siloa, Kobe, and Jex have been our roster that's been playing so far. Again, they've had some good performances. It's been a little mixed, a little up and down. They're sitting in that sort of mid-table position, but plenty of opportunity for them today to get some impressive kills and maybe try and grab a Mandelbrick or 2.
Yeah, that's kind of the goal, especially if you're kind of trying to gear up and find everything that you can do ahead of those survivor matches and locking yourself into the finals. Then this is kind of your last litmus test to see if everything is working, any little mistakes that we can correct, or just kind of have everything come together in the 4th week. In terms of our Group C, we'll kick things off with AGARTHA. Now, did have some good momentum in some of the most recent games that we saw this weekend, but just kind of kept finding themselves getting stifled. But we know that they've had some strong performances over our group series as I kind of go through. Yeah, maybe some bottom of the packs as well. But when you know it's more of like a very much roller coaster, like I said, iron things out ahead of next weekend and you are all good.
Yep, 1 win for AGARTHA, but it was all the way back in week 1, so they need to try and find that form again. And Genius, one that's had, their form's been kind of all over the place. They're the only other team to have 2 wins apart from WLG, but they've also had some fairly poor results as well. So definite potential for them to come out on top, but their consistency's been a little all over the place. Kilo, Chins, and Hannah have been our primary roster throughout the Rise group stages so far. And then Number One, another team that's actually on good form now. They won their previous game. We've got Matthias, Enter, and Cook. Enter also on 30 kills at the moment, so pretty far up that leaderboard. One of our top killers so far today. I think Selin and Enter, Selin from WLG and Enter, our top 2 fraggers on that leaderboard so far. But from all the kills we saw yesterday, people can go flying up that leaderboard if they have a good few games.
They truly can, and there's your Group C. And of course, number one, fresh off a match day win. We got to talk to Matthias on the broadcast. But of course, we'll be kicking things off on that Zero Dam airdrop only round. Essentially, like you said, Ben, just an eco round, so they'll feel pretty confident just getting their assets turned up before we jump on over to the first Mandelbrick in match number 2 on Brakkesh. The world is your oyster when it comes to operator picks, but we'll go ahead and show you what are the most popular operator selections for Zero Dam. We've been getting, oh, that's very interesting, Shepherd, Raptor, Blender. Now, occasionally you get some off-caliber picks. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think like NBA brought in some knocks yesterday on Zero Dam. It just really depends, but Raptor having the drone to get the information up in the sky. I've seen double D-Wolves come out on Zero Dam where people just want to get hyper aggro. You got to do what works best for you and your team because it is the final day of the group stages.
Yeah, you're going to see our teams wanting to make sure they've got some smoke to utilize, some recon to utilize. Raptor, very effective for the open areas that you tend to be exposed to or be moving around in Zero Dam. We saw yesterday when a team didn't bring a Raptor, I think it was Gotaga, they had a Luna instead, and it really slowed down their ability to move around the map. So yeah, it does give you opportunities, and people like to obviously try and save some of their key operators they want to use in the later rounds when we've got the Mandelbricks available, or even just when you're on another map like Space or Prison, when you're inside, and it's a whole different dynamic to what we see in these Zero Dam fights.
Very much more open range here on Zero Dam, unless you get into that elevator extraction area up north and start to fight in a little bit close range combat. But that's it, guys. We have laid out all of the players, the vibes they're feeling in terms of it, but I just want to give some love to those of y'all at home watching. We do have a quick giveaway ahead of Zero Dam. A redeemable code is about to appear on your screen for the Nekomimi spray paint. Be quick. It has a limited number of activations, so once they're gone, they are gone, y'all. So good luck. It's limited to 35 redemptions, and they have been going so dang fast, y'all. So fast.
Yep, you got to be quick to get the spray paint, but give it a go, type it in. You've probably missed it already if you've not done it yet, but there will be some more of these coming over the course of the event, so make sure you hang around. There's going to be some other giveaways popping up for you. But now we are getting started with round 1. We are into Zero Dam on the final day of the group stages of Rise Season 1, and this is AGARTHA, and they are moving out to see what kind of benefits they can get from this. They're going to be looking for a whole bunch of kills, hopefully.
Yo, this is crazy. Okay, so basically what happened where AGARTHA just spawned in it, they have the same spawn that Gotaga had on Zero Dam, and they're moving straight on over to that visitor center in which they originally spawned. So if they take this fight against FLC on your screen, who clearly know AGARTHA is on the move, it'll be a little bit of a vengeance for them. It's not Gotaga, but it'll still feel very similar. Or do you just back away because they know that you're approaching?
Yeah, I can see AGARTHA. Looks like they're turning away from Visitor. They don't want to recreate that event again. Getting wiped pretty early on.
Too recent.
Too soon. That very early wipe they took on Friday's game, I believe that one was. A very weird Zero Dam game. Yesterday, our Zero Dam game was all about DE, sort of running around and wiping half the lobby. And yeah, Friday's one was a bit quiet and strange. So let's see what we get from this one as we see Alliance here. They got one of the pro spawns in admin there. The other team was Gen over near admin. Everyone in there. Purple armor and blue ammo. Just a reminder for those watching, you have restrictions over what you can use in this, and they kind of allows more stuff as the event goes on. So this is the maximum our players can bring in. They're not just choosing to sort of not bring in gold armor and gold ammo. This is all they can use for the time being.
Very true. And as we kind of peruse around, we see some operator selections. I believe I did see a Luna on the roster of AGARTHA. So electing to go ahead and go that way. Jen bringing in a Viren, pretty typical of what they've been doing. And we're finding some really nice reds. I'll take that all day for Chuba.
Yeah, a little 1.4 mil, and little is the optimal word, really, because that's just a single slot. So a nice, easy thing to put in their safe box rather than one of these enormous reds you see sometimes pulled. So, yeah, nice little monetary start for AGARTHA. As you pointed out, one Luna on the board there for AGARTHA. Lots of Raptors. I think Raptors for pretty much every team. Lots of Vlinders, lots of Sheps, pretty much as predicted at the beginning of the game, really. It's Alliance and Gen in the middle. MBO, by the way, they're up number 1, up in the barracks area. WLG are currently down in cement. We saw AGARTHA near the start, and FLC hanging out in the visitor center.
Yeah, they have just been kind of laying low over there for Alliance. Links here. This is what I love, right? Because every time you see people end up so close together in admin and they end up just kind of stalking one another for the first, like, I would say 5 to 6 minutes of the map, it usually doesn't actually break out into that all-out brawl that I'm just sitting here like waiting for, because it gives other teams time to rotate after they loot up and feel comfortable, get that information. And the next thing you know, you're going to have these potential third-party situations up here.
Right, it always feels like it's imminently about to kick off in admin, and it always takes way longer than you might expect. But there was quite an aggressive position from Alliance there. They'd actually pushed across and taken a sort of central area of admin, but they are just holding tight at the moment. No escalation there as we join Scooby from WLG off the back of those 2 wins they got in their last 2 matches. They are still down in cement, keeping an eye out for things. And AGARTHA, they are underground. Tube has lost a little bit of health. If that's anything like my games, that was probably the flamethrower setting them on fire when they came down here, but no players nearby.
All good. We just hit a little regain. The spirits seem high. You got smiles aboard for Yaku there. But everyone else up here kind of just chilling towards admin, especially if you people are taking some aggro stances across the way. You've just got to hold these angles. And if someone does approach as quietly as possible, you can just light them up, maybe take advantage of that. The Shep could really find some nice value out of those frag grenades and such, threading them through the doorways.
Yeah, Shep's utility, very useful in admin. He's got those sonic traps you can place down. It acts like a bit of an extra man almost to guard a door. Gives you an intel, of course. If someone triggers that, you know they're there. And the frag grenades have a very short fuse time as well compared to Luna. So again, makes them very powerful for fighting in those corridor areas. This is FLC. We see Kobe here. They're hanging out in the little camp waiting for the airdrop to come down. Looks like they've got that pretty well locked in, so we'll see that fall down soon. 2.2 mil for AGARTHA. Everyone else just creeping up slowly there over on the left.
I mean, it's true, but AGARTHA did find the 1.4 mil. So, I mean, if you pull that out, they're pretty standard alongside FLC and NBO. But here comes the airdrop. Smokes are dropped, and Kobe's going to hop it immediately. Let's see what we are going to grab. Okay. Now, here's the deal. When it comes to essentially the sniper here on Zero Dam, we haven't seen too much value come out of it the past 2 days. And I would technically love to see it with a lot of the action happening up towards admin and those like inside areas. It's usually you're leaving a player outside trying to hit through the windows. And it doesn't always end up benefiting because you do this like 2-1 split. But we'll see. It's a new day. It's the final day of group stages, and I just want to see some snipes.
We haven't seen an AWN leave Zero Dam all weekend, have we? It's stayed on the map and not really even seen any value gain from them. So, yeah, I'm interested to see what FLC decide to do. I honestly wouldn't blame them if they just sent someone out, you know, almost straight away with the AWM and just banked it for later. But I think they will try and hang around and see if they can pick up some kills. But you've got to make sure you either get some kills or get it off the map. But people don't seem to be following that. We can see their value there has jumped up on the left, of course, because they've got the ORM stuff. But you can't safe box that ORM ammo. So you use it, you lose it, or you get off the map.
Truly. For now, it kind of goes back to a bit of a halt, right? People are making their plays, whether it's from the underground tunnel as they kind of look for that information in the basement and such. For FLC post grabbing that airdrop, I'm curious if I decide to move up towards admin, maybe get involved a bit. Who knows? You said maybe potentially an early exit. They do have that extract down south that will open up in about a minute, and they can maybe trigger that, or at least keep it for themselves. In terms of NBO, they have made their way over here to the north.
And this is the sort of standard play we see on Zero Dam as teams gradually move together into the admin area as we move through the match. And eventually, someone will bump into someone, the fighting will start, and everyone will probably rush in and try and third party. So if you do get into that fight, it's critical you can try and wrap it up as quickly as possible before everyone else turns up and starts shooting you while you're trying to heal, while you're trying to repair. And this is Cell and WLG. They are still sitting. This is up in barracks, so they are just biding their time at the moment. There's some of the gun skins in this game. It looks like the spider's about to climb out the side of it there. Love that.
Oh, that is actually kind of wild. I don't know if I should be like nervous or super excited about it. It's pretty cool. Okay, WLG. I like how they've positioned themselves over in barracks, though, just like holding every single angle. And honestly, if you can get something from distance and get a pick and just cause a bit of a nuisance to happen, then that can trigger the fight in admin in which you can go on. But as soon as something breaks out, AGARTHA's gonna pop out from underneath. You know that Yaku is just listening and trying to gather information for his duo. And then keep an eye on FLC here for this extract we were chatting about.
Yeah, and don't forget, every team here apart from AGARTHA, who are underground anyway, has a Raptor, and that allows them to get very good intel on where everyone else is and what they're doing. You can see here, enter from MBO from number one. They're using theirs to scout out, so no doubt WLG, who are sitting up in barracks, are pretty aware of certainly where MBO are. They're pretty exposed there. They'll know that there's a team in between them and admin, so they can kind of wait. They don't want to be the pinch teams. They know if they stay in barracks, it's very, very unlikely there's going to be anyone behind them right now.
Exactly. But I respect the discipline that we see from our teams here on Zero Dam, because it's all about, every time you talk to our players, it's their smart engagements. It's making sure that these fights lend to our play style. But can we just talk about how FLC just rolls up and grabs proximity to the second airdrop that's going to have those high value supplies?
Just farming airdrops here. This is the, as you say, the high value supplies. So this will just be full of a few gold, and they'll be hoping some red items to add a bit of value to their stashes. We'll see what they grab. Gold cup and a little military information terminal. So not too shabby. That's a relatively valuable two-slotter they can safe box. And then they need to decide what they're going to do here. They have banked the paid extract, so that's theirs if they want to use it. No one else will be able to take that now. And what we tend to see is teams sort of bank that, then sneak up the middle to admin, try and third party a bit, and then decide later on whether to take it. So expect to see them move up and get involved with the fights when they kick off in a short while.
I know, I'm giving it like at least 3 more minutes, y'all. Once it hits 5, it's like, all right, cool, guys. Our gentleman's agreement here on Zero Dam has officially expired. It is now time to turn on one another. But until then, it's all about getting information and putting yourself in a stellar position to make it happen. So FLC, sometimes we do see them carve over to the east and take that road up towards the north. Historically, teams have done that. Haven't found too much success as of yet. Not, honestly, even the underground path, you really can't do that because that's where AGARTHA's been vibing at. And WLG just keeping sights on everything up ahead with their backs cleared.
Yesterday, we didn't even see the lever pulled as well. You can see Hannah there from Gen up near that lever room at the moment. That's a 3-minute countdown. I do see some shots fired, the first we've seen since very early on between Gen and Alliance upstairs in admin. A couple connected, a little bit of repairing going on between Matthias and Hannah here. It'll be interesting to see if anyone does go lever. No one's going to be doing wall breaker at this point because everyone is so packed around admin, you wouldn't be able to get round and do it. So there won't be any extra value from our players tackling the flagship task. As we see Scooby there from WLG has moved down to the end of the tunnel to get a bit more intel on the admin teams.
There it goes. I'll go with the Raptor, getting some information up. He'll be privy to that engagement where we saw Matthias kind of poking Hannah through the window. Even Hannah trying to hang out and we'll see some angles, if possible, prior to taking the WLG perspective. Checking in with AGARTHA, who now have Chuba joining alongside Yaku and Nast kind of bringing up the rear.
Everybody waiting for someone else to act first. And when you're in the Mandelbrick games, that can really come to be a problem if you're relying on other teams making the move first. But in these, it's not as big a risk for our players. Obviously, there's not a win condition in this match. Really, as we talked about before, they want to just get a few kills. That gets them a few score points. That's going to come in useful later on. But, there's nothing super critical on the line right now. They're just getting started and just looking to get a few points. As we do see AGARTHA move up into the basement of admin. So we got Gen above, Alliance above on the other side. Number one over in the little construction area, so they can dip down through that tunnel. So 5.5 minutes. Everyone's getting a little squeezed together now.
I know, I'm like starting to start. I'm like, oh, is it gonna happen? Like, are we gonna have one map? I did see a couple people extract just yesterday, 0 dam. There was fighting that broke out. But for now, I don't know. I really enjoy a bit chaotic moments, and it all breaks out towards the end. But AGARTHA just sneaking around, wanting to keep their presence mitigated as long as possible with Enter taking to the sky, checking in on the teams, if he can get info out towards the left and see if anyone's rotating up through mid-map in the open.
Doesn't look like they are. I can see over on my map feed. Oh, there you go. FLC, they're just still sitting down where they picked up the airdrop. We do see some shots coming from Tuba. It does look like things may be beginning to grow, and that might be a cue for our other teams to move in. You can see MBO #1 now. They're going to try and drop down into that basement, maybe come down behind AGARTHA. There we go. AGARTHA going to push back down, try and counter that. They've heard Matthias. They've heard MBO. They know they're there.
This is where I'm very interested to see how the Luna can make a difference for them in this environment against the D-Wolf that NBO has. Little triple blaster V frag grenade. I don't know. We'll see. Util's going to get crazy. WLG now starting to work towards that tunnel, leaving it. Selin up ahead.
The Luna scan maybe not super helpful in this environment, but the utility that she brings will be handy. The shock arrows, the grenades is all very, very powerful stuff when you're inside admin, as players will be well aware. This is Selin, the only Nox, I think, on the map. Yeah, just Selin running the Nox. And then we see Alliance here. Our first Nox coming in with the double from Easy. Great start there, and AGARTHA down to 1, just like that.
Don't think AGARTHA was expecting that, and Yaku making the last stand here, but can't do anything against Alliance's Easy. A nice 3 kills going the way of Alliance. And with 3 minutes, 20 seconds left on the board, WLG haunting that tunnel entryway in which we had seen #1 go through.
Yeah, it's great work from Alliance. Great positioning there. You don't often see the team holding that side actually all come downstairs. You'd probably be expecting to contest them when you went upstairs and looking through the doorways and those kind of angles we saw people holding yesterday. So great work from Alliance. AGARTHA cornapping a little bit there. That's going to be a nice 3 kills on the board. We see FLC have extracted one, so that'll be whichever of their members picked up that AWM has gone out through the paid extract. And then the other members look like they might be trying to get involved and come and see if they can get some kills, because everyone's heard this kick off a little bit. It was a very quick fight, like we talked about a minute ago. You know, quick fight gives less opportunity for third party, but there's 2.5 minutes left, so you might as well get stuck in and do something at this point.
This is the time that everything breaks out. And if you are going to take an engagement with this many teams close by in admin, it's being efficient, right? And you called it out perfectly with Alliance, dude. They were just, AGARTHA was kind of backing up, leaving that doorway entry open, and he was just able to rip through it. Now, the same thing happen again as you see Anna from Genius kind of hopping around, doing a little bit of util check there with some EMPs. NBO definitely sights one.
Yeah, I'm probably a hit marker coming on for Hannah with the EMP there, just giving away the position of Alliance. Watching that window as we see Chins here, looking for the angles. This is just at the top of the stairs on that east side of admin. Jen are going to move upstairs. We've certainly got, yep, Chin up there. And then Easy. They're all of Alliance now down in this pretty tightly compacted area. Only 90 seconds left, and we've only seen 3 deaths so far. We might see, I mean, you're always surprised how quickly everyone can die when they all get to the end of the game, but there is a lot of killing to be done. And if we look on the mini-map, we can see pretty much every team moving into this area now. You can see them on the screen there.
And here it is, NBO's Cook trying to hold the smallest of an angle. Util coming, connects that EMP grenade. For now, FLC, the duo, ever having sent one out, looking for some extra kills if they can pad their score line. See them on that picture-in-picture with Easy, looking for more kills after the first 2 on AGARTHA.
Less than a minute on the clock now. No one wants to be the first to pounce. Everyone's getting tagged with Util. We do see a Nox ult going as well. That's going to be WLG, so they're going to be running in with the Nox somewhere. That'll be the only player that that people won't be able to hear, so maybe that will start to get things moving. But coming up to 30 seconds now, this is Alliance and Gen, and they are going to get involved a little bit. Only small connections maybe. Here we go. They are committing. Link's down, and Hannah goes down as well, and Chin's one left for Gen. And that is trading out quickly, and here we go. It's all kicking off. 20 seconds.
20 seconds to go, and Kilo last alive for Genius. Backs away, tries to drop the trap, and is so dangerously low. Up the stairs we go. Easy puts a finish on its shins, and you can see WLG getting into the action now towards FLC. Kilo, can we escape? No, we don't. Alliance with the finishing blow. Easy on 3, but honestly, I will say it looks like Alliance benefited from the majority of those kills.
Yeah, they did. I'm interested. I saw MBO dropped pretty quickly during all that as well, slightly off camera while that was kicking off. So be curious to see who picked up the kills on MBO. I think we probably saw about 10 different players go down in the last 20 seconds of that match there. I know our players like to leave it late on these eco rounds, but that was especially late, even by eco standards.
I know, I'm like, okay, maybe that 5-minute mark, 3-minute mark, and they're like, no, 1 minute, 30 seconds, go, go, go. And they're just like rolling out, full sending, trying to be very cognizant about the angles and not showing too much to other teams. But at the end of the day, for Zero Dam, your best team was Alliance with 6 KP, just under a mil on those assets gained, which when you think about it, I think Easy themselves had 3. Grind and Lynx also looking pretty solid. Grind had 2, Lynx getting 1. WLG, okay, 4 kills, we'll take it. FLC do get 1 kill, but they do extract 1 player out with 2 mil in value. You know what that is. Y'all know what that is.
Yep, that is going to be Jex with the AWM and whatever else they found in that box as well in the supply drop. Selling there, grabbing 3 for WOG, and Easy from Alliance grabbing 657 damage to go with their 6 kills they managed to grab. That's a pretty nice amount of points on the board for Alliance. They'll be pleased with that. A little bit of a warm-up round for our teams, but also those points will coming crucially. 5 assists there for Lynx. It's great to see. In fact, clean sweep from Alliance on the assist board, and there's that 2 mil. Tuba still actually managed to safe box pretty decent amount. That's probably because Tuba was holding that key card we saw picked up earlier. And I think that's about everything that managed to leave the map in that game. And there's our MVP. Easy from Alliance takes it.
Hey, very nice. It's all about having that 3 KP, 2 assists. You had Lynx there with 5 assists, which means he was doing a brunt force of damage. Alongside that, you have to think about their imagining that fight with AGARTHA. Super efficient, a lot of damage going out in such a quick moment, guys. But maybe you're loving what you're seeing. I know you guys are. You're cheering for your favorite organizations, your favorite players. Or maybe you want to get in on the action yourself here at the Delta Force Rise Series. Well, guys, the registration for Season 2 is going to open on August 10th. A ton of information should have just popped up below. Make sure you follow us on _game because all of that information is going to be dropped and kept up to date on social platforms. Don't miss your chance to compete, all right? I already tried to get Ben in there, but he said no.
Yeah, I've moved way past that. I'm much happier just talking about Delta and casually playing. I'll leave it to these guys. But we're going to jump back in for another game. Our first Mandelbrick of the day game of the day just after this short break.
Two members, now the odds are in their favor, 2v1. Everything getting spammed away, and MT getting a little... So hang on a second, NL! Look at that! It's an absolute sweat!
For the last remaining 3 BOV, they find 2 instant knocks. The Elm's going to be hopping off to that.
Got the Mandelbrick. Find it. Stop them. Mandelbrick decoded. Nice work, operator. The time to strike is now. Do not let me down, operator.
Decoding has begun. Defend the area.
Is about to take the first hit to break up the tournament, and they're going to do it!
What goes around, comes around.
Oh, I'm not gonna do very much though. When you get barrel stuff, Skydie is getting aggressive.
See what I did there? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Let's knock them off their feet.
There we go. And there it is.
And we are back to the final day of our group stage for the Delta Force Rise series and getting a good look at the boys over at Alliance, fresh off a 6-kill best team performance over on Zero Dam. But as we set our sights to our first Mandelbrick round, oh Ben, I'm excited.
Yep, Brakkesh coming up. We can see the squad points gained by our teams here. 6 kills, 4 squad points, or 4 supply points rather for Alliance. That gives them 10, so pretty decent haul. Be happy with 10 going in from one game. WLG with 7, 5 for FLC, and then 2 for all of the rest. You know, it's not a huge deal what you walk away from Zero Down with, but if you start to lag behind a bit, those squad points can come in very, very important if there's a tiebreaker situation later. And Alliance will be happy because they're one of our 3 teams today, along with WLG and Genius, who have a chance of getting into those top 2 spots.
That is actually very true. And when we were thinking about Alliance needing to get up into that top 2, you almost need like a 10 or a 9-point performance on the day. But here's our map rotation. We were talking about moving on over to Brakkesh. You're going to have an airdrop, but also it is the first Mandelbrick round. And honestly, probably my favorite map of the day. It's just the way it plays out. You get hyper aggro, and sometimes we see teams invest a Tempest, but for the most part, those will be saved for those later brick rounds over on Space City. But as you can see, we did get 1 Nox checked off, 1 Luna brought in by AGARTHA, a couple of D-Wolves going out, 1 Viren from Genius. Kind of sporadic, right? But our most popular operators on Brakkesh are kind of that Alluru toxic Raptor. It's all about holding down the museum, because that would be the favored decoding station of a lot of our teams here.
That museum is certainly where we end up quite often. It's just so close to where you pick up the brick, right? So if you're able to grab that, get straight in the museum, as we saw yesterday, it was brought in very quickly. There was a knock picked up from the museum pretty much straight away, and then it was put on that decode station. But I like to see some of the other ones. I'm hoping we see some of the lesser used decode stations. I don't think I've seen Market for a few matches. That would be kind of interesting one to me, but I would be certainly not surprised if it is museum. You can see the tier 1 spawns our teams can get there. That means they can get into that museum very, very quickly and get onto that Mandelbrick. And let's wait and see if any of our teams decide to bring a Tempest.
Ooh, let's see what investment they pull out. But speaking of that, guys, I got some investments for y'all in chat. Be sure that you guys are ready to type in this code, because it's got another giveaway. Watch your screen for that redeemable code to pop up to unlock the SR3M Combat Ready. Be quick about it, okay? Because I'm telling you, those activations are limited, and this one only has 25 redemptions, and it's pretty sick. I'm not going to read out the code because it's probably already gone, but I wish you guys the best of luck.
Yeah, a bit of a tongue twister to read out as well, that one, as we see some lovely cinematic shots of the new Tower of Babel here on Brakkesh for round 2, our first Mandelbrick game of the day, as we join AGARTHA heading on inside the tower.
Get us in, okay? Get us in. You are right. AGARTHA Alliance in the new Tower of Babel. Prio spawns going to WLG and NBO over towards the museum. As you can see, FLC and Genius on the north for those tier 3 spawns. I still like to think that they're tier 2 in my opinion. Of course, AGARTHA and Alliance will probably either battle it out or loot it up before one of them leaves. In terms of who's going to grab the Mandelbrick first, we'll be here with WLG, just like kind of playing a little bit low and slow. You can see what everyone's brought in. Solid purples across the way. Chins Okay, Chins and Enter are going to be our only two Tempests from Genius and NBO.
Yeah, 2 Tempests is probably fairly high for a Brakkesh game, right? It's often just 1 or none you see. So number 1 have got 1, Gen have got 1, and number 1, as mentioned, in the middle here, it's our 2 form teams that have the prio spawns. Number 1 off the back of a win in their last game, WLG off the back of double wins, and Gen picking up a knock here on WLG as they drop out the tower here. Interesting, Selen taken down early. We'll see if that res is something WLG are able to pick up, but quite interesting choice of position here as they roam around. I think they might have dropped, I think it was Selen that actually had the brick, right? Yeah, the brick has been dropped there by WLG. They're trying to get out of there.
Ooh, quite interesting. And now you're going to have to try and stabilize and get your teammate back when you have 2 teams rotating in from the north. Recovery will be Nye. Matthias grabbing a nice fossil for about 342k. Good looks on the red there. And Genius, as they move up, they find a player from FLC coordinating towards the middle of the market.
I can see on the map that Selen managed to crawl across the street, so in quite an awkward position, not really near that brick, and it has been picked up now by number 1. They've grabbed that, said thank you very much, but they need to watch out for Gen, because those positions Gen have on these roofs have been very nice for getting some shots off into our teams. But I think NBO probably have control of the museum, and they're going to get that into that museum decode, and that's what we're going to see for our first Mandelbrick. It's going to be a museum classic, and expect our teams to start making their way over and throwing every bit of utility they've got up onto this position upstairs in the museum.
Yeah, you start thinking about the way that they're going to break down this defense, and not having an Alluru, which a lot of our teams, I see about 3, maybe potentially 4 Allurus on the map, but NBO does not have one. Now with that decode underway, Alliance elects to leave the new Tower of Babel and head on towards the north. And with some casualties, you see FLC getting back up to a full man of 3, but WLG still missing Selen. Genius kind of wrapping around towards the right, and I imagine that AGARTHA will eventually leave after they're done kind of looting about in the new Tower of Babel. We're going north. But we talked to players, Ben. We talked to them a lot about how do you play in your own lane, but also rely on other teams to kind of swipe the decode back and forth to give you that time to get there.
It's definitely what Yersai was saying when we were chatting to him yesterday, was that they maybe relied too much on expecting other teams to do stuff rather than taking it into their own hands. And we've seen so often in these events, when you're trying to wait to let other teams kind of engage first, and then you come in the third party, sometimes everyone's thinking that, no one engages, and you just get a free brick, like we saw in Gotaga got a free brick yesterday because of that. So you can't rely on other teams all the time to make the first move. Sometimes you just got to open it up yourselves, as we see Grind put in some shots there. Kobe taking a bit of damage, but it's going to get through. They're going to be safe there. You can see the helicopter in the distance, but big hits on Silowar as well. Sends a few back Grind's way though.
Yeah, definitely. It was a good angle right there, but that table, like trying to keep you out into the open. Triple blaster across the way to try and maybe hit some more damage onto Grind. In terms of the decode, just under 2 minutes for NBO. Matthias here, constantly peeking out under that cover. You do have Enter on the Tempest, so being able to kind of jut on out and maybe make a play to defend. But this is like NBO's motto at this point. They just came off a double brick performance on their prior match day on Friday. Looked exceptional, clawed their way out of the bottom 2, and are just working on making the most out of every play they do ahead of next weekend.
NBO sitting in 7th place at the moment as they get down just a minute 20 on the brick here. Gen have got in close, but the other teams are still a little way off. Expect Gen to make a play on this pretty soon. So, NBO have got stuff to play for here. None of our teams today can get fully relegated. They're all going to make it to finals weekend, but I know we've mentioned it before. It's worth reiterating, if NBO, FLC, or AGARTHA can have a good day today, they can make sure they get to play in both survival matches, well, if they need to. It gives them double the chance of getting to the grand final day on Sunday. So that is very valuable. There is a lot to play for NBO as they defend this balcony here.
Okay, I see us. We're throwing the util for that window climb up, and Enter on the way. We see the Tempest ult come out from Genius and get denied by NBO, who are now just about that 30-second margin left on the decode. All of the teams trying to make their presence known from multiple angles. Most dangerous time to be said. You have Matthias on the actual decode station itself, and Genius Kilo goes straight for it, hits the knock onto Matthias, gets the full, and Enter has to jut on out, and he is swarmed by Genius, swarmed by FLC, and it is a brawl.
Oh, Gen just got it there and then got immediately wiped. They had it for about 3 seconds, and then FLC actually wiped Gen. You saw NBO also go down to one member there. They were giving it everything to try and finish that brick off. They were throwing their lives away to make it happen, but all 3 members of Gen stacked up there. They just weren't able to do it, and Cook now, the only remaining member of NBO, is finished off in the end. That was Grind actually finishing him with the Raptor Bird to wipe number 1 there.
Do you want to kind of commend Alliance for recognizing that they could back off in this moment? With Genius on the inside and FLC also filtering through, NBO already had too much going on. They just had to be conservative. You throw down the Uluru wall here and you kind of just work these angles. And now with that decode interrupted, we just wait and see kind of what the decode jump looks like. Is Alliance going to make that happen?
We've also lost both our Tempest teams here, number 1 and Genius. They were the 2 Tempests, so none of them on the map. As we see more kills coming in, AGT losing Yaku, and then Kobe sent down by Lynx as well with the Uluru rocket. That is going to be, another couple of players. Alliance at the moment, the only ones with 3 up. Obviously, Reses may well come through. We can hear that going on right now for AGARTHA. They're trying to get Yaku up. They'll be trying to see if they can find an angle for the utility. There's a lot of sneaky angles you can send them through in this building that I didn't know about until I started watching these players. There's some little holes you can throw them at the top of some of the rooms to get into these little sort of corridor areas to counter, but they have got their res. We've got Alliance and AGARTHA with 3 up at the moment, and FLC will be wondering if they can also get a res here, but that might be tricky.
Ooh. Would be quite interesting to get back to a team of 3. But for now, Alliance vying for a potential top 2 finish to auto-qual to finals. As we run it back, this is the moment FLC puts on the hurt down the hallway through Alliance as well. There goes Kobe. And they get the decode.
Less than 2 minutes now on the decode for Alliance. They are holding this balcony position as we see Scooby. WLG lost Selen early on. We saw that one quite a while ago in this game. They didn't get the res there, so no res available. Just going to be 2 for the remainder of the game for WLG. They're playing it patiently, wait and see how things develop. Maybe they'll make a move later on, but it's going to be hard for them to compete with the 3-man teams we got in here. The fewer teams remaining, the stronger the opportunity for this brick gets for these teams here. It's Alliance in the ascendancy at the moment, and they've got a nice little hold there with the Gizmo, Uluru, Raptor. Pretty nice little setup for dealing with that confined area, I would say.
Now that I think about it, it's kind of hard when you've got your 2 Tempests that you invested into Brakkesh for NBO and Genius, and you get a full wipe. So we kind of burnt our 1 Tempest utilization as we see Kobe get picked up by FLC, trying to regain back to that 3. Body still moving on the map. WLG kind of working to pull their duo back together, as now being under a minute. Only so many opportunities left to swipe the decode.
Looks like FLC had to go on a right little adventure there to get the revive. Does get interrupted by an EMP as well, just to be annoying. They're going to have to start that one again, and probably going to get interrupted by another EMP here. It's such a troll tactic, but very, very effective when you've got a Raptor and Alliance. 30 seconds left. They're moving in to set up shop on that brick. Easy, just lay it next to it as AGARTHA. They're going to make a move here. 25 seconds.
There it is. Easy. Laying down smoke on the brick. Here comes AGARTHA. Chuba. We throw incendiaries out towards the left and smokes, and then we move towards the decode. Easy. Gonna be on with his body. Gets a knock onto Chuba. Hip firing through the chaos. And does have to hit the reload, backs away. FLC now making their presence known, but it doesn't matter because Alliance stay alive. Alliance get the decode.
Yeah, Easy was so close to grabbing it, but just got forced off at the last second there, and Alliance are going to take the first brick of the day. They've only got one member left, but they won't be bothered about that. The brick is the priority. It's the grand prize. It's the thing that wins you the matches. So they'll be very pleased, even as they don't get wiped. I was going to call it out, but there we go. They do go down in the end to WLG. There's one remaining member, Oko, picking up that final kill.
Just a bit too late on the siege for trying to steal that out. But for now, with 3 teams remaining, a solo from WLG, a duo of FLC, and a duo of AGARTHA. You can see Jex here checking it out. Incendiary at the back, and it's like, can we find an angle onto Oko as we deny that, but still going to be sighted out.
It was really just the timing of that FLC res worked very well for Alliance, because that took them out of the picture just for that decode interrupt, and it meant it was just AGARTHA versus Alliance, really. And when you're in that 1v1, it can be pretty tough. You often end up having 3 teams fighting at the same time to drain the utility a little bit from the defenders, and that opens up the opportunity to steal. So that was always a tall order for AGARTHA. Didn't quite work out, as we see Tuba there still down on the brick. The brick has now been extracted. WLG with 1 up, FLC with 2, and AGARTHA with 2 as our players finish up the round here.
Okay. Naku, eyes in the sky as we filter through. Hey there, friend. I feel like I'm watching drone racing.
Few kills on the board here for FLC. 4 for Jex. In fact, I think that's about the most I've seen from our remaining teams. Not sure any of them have got crazy kill hauls. We can see 1 kill for Oko. We saw him pick up that a minute ago, and also picking up his teammate that he might be trying to grab a res on there. As we look at AGARTHA, yeah, no kills on the board for AGARTHA. Remember, those kills can be vital for your squad points. And that is going to decide the leaderboard. Look at that angle there. And there goes Oko. WLG wiped out. I was talking about the angles in this building. They're all over the place if you know where to find them. And now 5 there. Very nice work from the boys.
Yeah, FLC is currently on 6 as a team, which is crazy work. We know Alliance found 6 kills in map number 1, and FLC not getting a brick, but they do find a ton of value in those kill points. Now, for AGARTHA, would like to get a kill on the board if they could, but it's just a 2v2. You know, you hear them across the way. Kobe's been trying to find an angle all day, but it just keeps getting slammed by EMP vibes.
2 players waiting for that peak as well. That was always going to be nasty, and then all the utility coming over. That's nasty. And Yaku there from AGARTHA holding the angle. Both these teams, no, as I say, they both did have potential for reses, but they both just bled out, as I said that, so they are fully gone. It's going to be a 2v2 till the end here. We've only got Recon on AGARTHA's team, so no Recon for FLC. They've just got the D-Wolf and the Toxic, but you're in such close proximity here, you don't really need to worry about that too much, because you can pretty much just hear and see exactly where everyone is.
Last, closing out the left, maybe looking to filter right if they can, but with all the coverage they have here for the side of the balcony on Museum, there's no reason to give up too much. They've already got 1 member of FLC because he jacks incredibly low and hip firing, but we are just on a visual clutter. Here comes some resources as Yaku, but it's going to be Nast that's first knocked down by FLC. They ran him down.
Just Yaku left now with the Raptor 1v2. That's going to be a tough one for AGARTHA to win. See if they're going to push in, try and dig him out. Looks like they're getting their D-Wolf ult ready as well. Going to move in for the push. Both on good HP here. They haven't got the finish on Nast yet, but there's no way that res is going to come off. We see him pushing around, trying to find the Raptor. I don't know where he is exactly at the moment.
Oh, there it is. He's like, look, I saw that door open. I'm just letting you know that I'm here. And you know that FLC is going to be very aware of the angle that Yaku is holding. We do have the fallen brethren crawling back to Yaku's feet. But it's not going to matter. There goes the full. That res would take entirely too long. But it's all about getting that information. But the resources that FLC needs to find an angle onto Yaku. Let's see if they can do it.
2.5 minutes left. I don't think it's going to take them that long to finish it up. They just want to get a nice little split angle here. I think FLC just working into a better position, and that's all it takes to get the finish. That is 6 kills for Jex there. 2, I think, for Scooby as well. So, yeah, very nice amount of kill points on the board for the guys there in the end. Obviously, they don't get the Mandelbrick, but some nice squad points at least for FLC there.
Yeah, it's a big game. Big game for Brakkesh, but of course for Alliance to get the coveted Mandelbrick. Let's check back on the replay.
Yeah, there's that time. You can see Easy was right on the brick, but just got forced off, unfortunately. And obviously, if you manage to take the brick, but your whole team dies, then it doesn't do you many favors anyway. And that was that sneaky little angle. And Nas getting taken down here. And obviously the final kill we all just witnessed. Oh.
I was curious. I really wanted to see that go through from FLC's POV on what they were able to see with AGARTHA. And hey, I'll see that M82 all day. Let's go. Wait, they got 2 of the airdrops in 0 dam too. Then they dive out in the last minute or so. Full send it up. Are we going to hit the extract up north with that?
They will, yeah. This is the bagless extract. They've got time to take it. So Kobe can go up here, drop his bag, and take the M82 out. And that's a great flag, Tiff. They also got the Orm out of 0 dam. Pretty sure they didn't bring it in here. We certainly didn't see one fired. So I guess they're going to now have 2 of these god tier weapons that they can bring into our Space City games with them.
That's actually disgusting. That is disgusting. Oh my gosh, what a day here for our groups B and C. FLC playing the long game, investing for that Space City back-to-back-to-back rounds. For them, they'd probably prefer not to go to Game 6. They want to take a back-to-back in maps 4 and 5 if possible as we get some of our things open. Let's see, any goodies? A little lantern, that's cute. A gold, slide that right into the safe box.
A safe box full of dog tags there. Obviously, dog tags are worth extra value in this, and you can safe box them, unlike pubs. So that's why you're seeing dog tags picked up, and they do increase in value as the matches go on as well. So that's why players are proring those. And an infirmary keycard, which I'm sure you'll all be used to picking up many of those back at home. But Alliance taking the first Mandelbrick of the final group stage today.
Yeah, it's actually pretty great because they're competing basically for an auto qual to finals inside that top 2, or just really keeping themselves as high up for those survival stage matches and giving them the most amount of times to place inside the top 2 on Friday or Saturday. Goal is finals, y'all, and just easing it up, right? Because we know what a gauntlet that survival stage will be, and anything can happen. The pace of play can change significantly. But our best team of the day for Brakkesh, a little back-to-back, 6 kills on 0 dam, a Mandelbrick, and 4 kills on Brakkesh. Nice work, boys.
And 1,400 damage as well was a very decent haul there, despite the only 4 kills. So nice to go with their Mandelbrick. And there's the 8 we saw for FLC, 6 for Jex, 2 for Kobe, and then those 4 kills for Alliance, 3 for Genius. Not too shabby. WLG grabbing a couple and none for AGARTHA and number 1. So yeah, very nice for AGARTHA. They'll be very pleased with that. Gives an opportunity to maybe get that auto qual spot. You can see Jex with his 6 kilo with 2, Links with 2 as well. So I have a feeling that might be our MVP of the match with 900 damage. But Links getting good damage there as well.
Yeah, definitely kind of keeping into the mix, holding Easy's back there as they were working on defending. But we come to the top assisters. Siloa with 4. Okay, pretty massive assist there. Kilo and Link's going to round it out with 1 respectively each in terms of our top asset earners. Yeah, Kobe, I mean, that tracks. That tracks. You grab an M82, you head to an extract, you take it, and Jex is actually going to be our MVP.
No surprises there. Well-deserved. Grabbing 6 is impressive for any of these matches we've seen so far. Huge amount of points gained for FLC. Obviously, no Mandelbrick, so they're not going to be able to get ahead of Alliance. But if they can get themselves a Mandelbrick later on, then those squad points are going to come in very valuable for them.
I mean, definitely. You've got an M82. You've got an AUM in the back pocket somewhere, depending on where you want to invest that on Space City, guys. But before we get to our next Mandelbrick round, we've got to get through Tide Prison. Of course, that's all going to be coming up after this break.
Members, now the odds are in their favor, 2v1. Everything getting spammed away, and MT getting a little... So hang on a second, NL! Look at that! It's an absolute sweep! This... And at least he's got it, though. They're here. Lines them up, even through the shot. You're nuts! The last remaining 3 BOV, they find 2 instant knocks. The Elm's gonna be hopping off to that.
Find and stop them. Mandelbrick decoded. Nice work, operator. The time to strike is now. Do not let me down, operator. Decoding has begun. Defend the area.
Is about to take the first hit to bring up the tournament. They're going to do it.
What goes around, comes around.
Not gonna do very much though. You get barrel stuff. Skydie is getting aggressive.
See what I did there? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Let's knock them off their feet.
There we go. So much damage, and there it is.
And welcome back to the Delta Force Rise series, guys. It is the final day of groups with B and C taking out one another. Honestly, it was a pretty wild day for the boys over at Alliance thus far, getting a Mandelbrick on our first round. But now we head to Tide Prison.
Yeah, let's see what our teams have got in store for us. We've seen some pretty interesting Tide Prisons. Certainly Friday's one was quite crazy with the fight we had over on the Watchtower on the outside area. Yesterday was maybe more similar to our first Zero Dam from today, right? They left it very late in the day and then it all exploded in the last 3 minutes. So another eco round for our teams, chance for them to gain more money. They can put that towards their kits that they use in their later games. And they can also gain assets and gain kill points to help them on the leaderboard.
We'll see who's going to start that out as we look at our leaderboard from round 2. You can see that Mandelbrick, of course, for Alliance, 10 kill points total, 16 squad points. I will say, though, FLC balancing the kill points and supply points to grab 17. So be really interesting to see what FLC does once we get over into Space City. But it's all about making sure that if there is a tiebreaker towards the end of our series, that you have as many squad points as possible. So loot all of Tide Prison and kill, of course.
Big gulf in the squad points there when you look at the bottom and top of the table. AGARTHA are number 1, haven't picked up any kill points at all so far. They will be looking to improve on that. They can't get a Mandelbrick in this next game, but they can definitely get some kill points. And that's going to be vital for them if they want to try and get up that leaderboard a little bit. Certainly Alliance and FLC in control of the top. That's what we've seen in those first 2 games. WLG sitting just behind. WLG been on form over their last couple of games and going to be plenty of opportunity for them to get up there as well with Mandelbricks to come. But first up, as we just said, Tide Prison, we get airdrops, we get lots of Noxes, we get lots of Hat Claws, and hopefully we get lots of killing from our players.
Yeah, gotta be hyper aggro, especially if you haven't found a kill just yet. You outlined it, but here's the operators that have already been chosen and what is still available. Only WLG brought in a Nox on Zero Dam, so plenty of Noxes left on the table for those who need to bring him into Tide Prison. Those Tempests will probably be expended there on Space City, but as you kind of look, Stinger will come up on Space City as well. But in terms of the most popular operators, well, Ben, you are 100% accurate. It's the Hacklaw and Nox, all about their show today.
Yeah, we also see Morse brought out sometimes pretty powerful with his ultimate, but then that also depends on if that's an operator they sort of prioritize for, you know, for the Mandelbrick games as well. We saw Morse used already on Brakkesh by 1 or 2 of our teams. You can see him popping up on the side there. So yeah, it tends to be fairly predictable lineups on this map. Be interesting to see if there's any curveballs as we see our priorities spawn. So number 1 and WOG, they got them in the last game. BC was actually Alliance got the brick and they had the tier 2 all the way down in the tower. So tier 1 certainly doesn't mean you're guaranteed anything. And over on Tide, not really a tier 1 that you especially want because, you know, there's no Mandelbrick there.
Also true. You want to make sure that your spawns are going to be great, but you can't really do too much about it. However, let's dive into it, y'all. The last Tide Prison of our group stage is about to be underway. I have no idea the way this is going to go. But the one thing I can tell you guys is that Season 2 of the Delta Force Rise series is about to have registration open. It's currently August 2nd. Registration unlocks August 10th. So make sure that in just over a week's time, you have already got your team identified. You are ready to lock it in for the Season 2 open qualifiers so you can compete in the Delta Force Rise series. Lay it all on the line. Join the ranks of teams like Alliance, like WLG, like Gotaga, like just show up, show out. Let's get it to Tide Prison, y'all.
And we are moving, and I see so many Noxes over on the left-hand side. We'll have to count them up in a minute and see if there's going to be a record. There's a whole bunch. We've got AGARTHA here in the center of the map. We can see FLC just down to their southeast, Gen, MBO around the top, and WLG just off over to the west there. Going to see a lot of times where teams look like they're right on top of each other on the mini-map, but because of the multi-level nature of this map, ooh, hold that thought. That's a nice red. And then, God, we had this yesterday. Kept finding reds that I need in my collection room. That's porcelain. It is massive, but it's worth 1.4 mil, so it could be useful.
Yo, this pace is crazy. I will say that I counted the Noxes for you. As you can see on your left, there's 8. However, now I'm gaslighting myself because there still looks like there's so many. But yeah, it's 8.
Got 2 double Nox teams there. Gen and Alliance both running double Nox. One with the Raptor, one with the Hacklaw, and then everyone else just bringing along one. So we're going to see... It's those discs, really, isn't it? I mean, the ultimate to be able to give you the silent movement is very handy, but it's those discs are so powerful right now. You see them in pubs, you see it in this comp version of the game as well, that disc is so good in these close confines for throwing and pushing in. Does a ton of damage. And yeah, quite an early engagement. I wouldn't be surprised if they disengage, but they're right up in their face at the moment.
All right. FLC got aggro in the prior round, looking to do the same here on stage. They just had that final battle against AGARTHA in the museum just on Brakkesh, and for AGARTHA wanting to get their first kill of the day, do disengage a bit, and that's okay. You stabilize, you work towards your approach and figure it out. Elsewhere, we got teams picking up red still.
AGARTHA finding themselves a more pocket-sized red there, but not as valuable as we see them also be set on fire there. Something that's happened to us all, I'm sure. This is Alliance. Grind just watching the stairs. The team with the Mandelbrick at the moment. And now FLC with their Nox, their single Nox, just the one with the Morse and the Gizmo as well. Hitting the ultimate, not actually moving on with it. It's kind of disorientates, you know, adds a bit of the unknown to your enemies. They don't know if you're flanking. You might just be sitting there. You might be running around behind them. You might be running away. There's not really any way for them to tell other than having a little look.
Just a little look-see. Nothing else going on. Just want to vibe and see what's happening. There you go. Util going out. Little whirling disc. Okay, Hannah. I'm ready. You've got this kind of like steel beam in the way, toggling from side to side.
It's such a technical little area. There's all this bulletproof glass, all this glass you can see here with the patterns on it. This can't be shot through, so many angles where people can get pretty good intel without actually having to fully expose themselves to gunfire. Obviously, you're still vulnerable to utility use on those discs, but imagine our teams there. They're kind of waiting. If they manage to get a good hit with the disc, then they might be tempted to follow that up with a bit more util and a push and try and get some shots. But for the time being, they're going to hold tight until they feel like they have an advantage in that situation. They're not going to go throwing themselves in there too early because they know that if they do, even if they come out on top, then every other team is going to be running in there trying to third party that.
Just getting the looting on. See if we can peruse and find anything stellar. But I honestly thought this was already a bit more aggression than we've seen on a Tide Prison historically. With all teams still up, all viable actions. But then I say that and I think about the West Watchtower area collapse we had on Friday and I was like, can something beat that? Can we see a level of fight take that one on?
I would love to see something a little bit different happen. It can pop up from time to time. This is WLG they're just sneaking around. This feels a bit more familiar. You can see Scooby here and Oko just up on the right. They're making their way through the map, having a little scan. Is another powerful utility to have the Hacklaw scan in this area. You get to scan a huge chunk of the map because it's so dense, so confined in this middle area. You're going to get a lot of teams in a very small areas. You see some more items. Safe box there. By the way, if you haven't watched this format before and you're waiting to see if someone's going to pull a Heart of Africa or a Tears of the Ocean and get themselves, 30 squad points just like that, you can't pull those insane value items on this server because that would be a little bit crazy with the RNG, but you can pull some pretty valuable things. I mean, we've seen up to 4 mil. We saw a key card the other day. So, keep your eyes peeled. There's some good reds about.
I don't think throughout, now mind you, America's was my first for season 1. Didn't see anything too crazy last week. Haven't seen anything breach over, what, 2 million this week?
Yeah.
But still some value. Come on, Yaku. Just a brief little check-in there to make sure we're keeping FLC at bay as needed.
Yeah, 2 mil for the Reds is probably about the normal peak, and then there's maybe just 1 or 2 crazy items you can get above that, and you're normally hoping it's something relatively small that you can fit in your safe box comfortably, because the chances of you actually bringing something off the map with you is quite slim at the moment, as we see so much premium coffee being found by players. They're not going to be extracting that and crafting any red vests with it. That's just going to sit in their inventory, but it's at least there's only a little 2 slots that they can use as the boss is ready to go roaming. We're going to hear those guys scrapping soon. 12 minutes.
They're going to fight each other. We'll see who comes out on top in terms of the bosses fighting. Oh, you're right. Their voice lines go crazy. The growl to start things off. NBO, who did initially get some of that first action on the Mandelbrick and Brakkesh, but one of the first teams wiped. Definitely looking to kind of turn that momentum around here on Tide Prison. But AGARTHA and FLC just kind of cohabitating in a neighboring vicinity. Fight not going to break out just yet.
Oh, nice to see all our players getting along so well, having a good time, hanging out, enjoying the scenery of Tide Prison. For the time being, there's... okay. So this is Matthias grabbing some ammo for their weapon. They've managed to go and complete the mission up there. That's going to give them access to... That's MBO. It's not another one for FLC. I feel like FLC, they've got enough of the big guns already. So nice of them to let other teams have a go here.
Yeah, so kind. So kind of them. But with that airdrop preparing in about 5 seconds. All right, we'll see where that decides to hit. Spawn. Okay. I checked the map, and similar spawn point for this airdrop as we saw yesterday. No one really around it on that west side upper area. So we'll see if anyone likes to make a play for it.
This is Oko here from WLG, just checking the large safe in the keycard room. Remember, they can scan open any keycard room they want, basically. They have a sort of skeleton key, so expect them to open whatever they're near, whatever they can find, whether that's to loot it or maybe to use that space to help them when they're in an engagement. Under 10 minutes on the clock now. This is Alliance grind. Moving through, trying to find an angle. They've got Scooby right here, though, and that is grind down.
Our first piece of action here. When you've got double knocks alongside you, grind, easy. Starting to breach a bit closer. You see the whirling disc kind of filter just ahead of Scooby there. But being conservative about it. Links and Easy, really good at working together. You can see that angle held and immediately backs off after being shredded.
That's a very tough push there to try and counter that with where grind has been knocked by Scooby. So first points on the board do go to WLG versus Alliance, our Mandelbrick holders. They're just left with 2 Noxes at the moment. And interesting little spot there. They're trying to get the discs through, trying to get the flashes through, but couldn't connect. They have managed to pick up the body. I say they've managed to pick up the body. That's actually WLG stealing the body. They're going to take that back and make it even harder now for Alliance to get that res.
But like, I am denying this for you. You cannot have this. All is good here. Some red still going up for Jen over there.
Yeah, the little thermal scope thing. It's about the lowest value red I think you could potentially pull, but it's a red's a red,
50K?
right?
Yeah, like,
well, you know, you never
still
know.
50K. Still 50K.
Yeah, exactly.
If that puts you over the threshold for a supply point, we take it.
When you see Gen here on, 4.8 mil, they've got a good amount of value as Grind is being taken on. Even more of an adventure by Oko. Next step, going down the ladder and see if Oko is going to continue going whereabouts with Grind. I'm not sure Easy are going to try for that revival, though. We do sometimes see our players kind of leave the body and walk off and let them res after a while, because I feel like they probably just want to get more kills anyway. So happy to bank the point and then move on and do their next thing.
Bravo! Such a magnificent performance.
We see you, Raven. Well, actually, we don't. We hear you. But getting a little aggro somewhere. Here's the deal. A couple reds there in the safe box for Genius as we kind of jump on over to their perspective. Gonna reunite around here. I love all of these little corridors on Tide Prison, because pushing is so incredibly difficult. Like, you are really, like you said, just counting on that utility to connect that just levels it for you, and you can just open the door and go.
Yeah, so much of that on this map. And a good little insight there. We got a glimpse of an inventory. You can see the vest also in the bag. You're going to see that used by our players quite a lot, where they're bringing in 2 vests with them and switching between the 2, so they can have 1 spare to chuck on in the heat of the moment, and when they have a quiet couple of minutes, they can get it all repaired in one go. But this is Gen. They're looking very aggressive, moving in on FLC here.
All right, Jen, get in there. You got Jax down and Kobe to join him. And here's the deal. FLC wiped out of here by Genius. They stay pretty healthy and they can focus forward. However, the only team neighboring them would be AGARTHA across the way, and are nowhere near close enough to try and third party this.
Absolutely brutal from Gen there. There's actually Chin's picking up all 3 kills. Does have the gold vest on, which potentially has just acquired that from an AI, I'd imagine. I'm not sure he would have committed a gold vest, so probably got that from a boss or a bot on the map, but it's helped him pick up 3 kills. And FLC wiped incredibly quickly there. For a minute, I thought maybe there'd only been 2 of them left, but that was the full team wiped in the end. And now we see Gen moving on. They've found AGARTHA, and they're ready to take another fight and get some more kills.
All right, bring it on. Maybe we could spread the love in terms of kills as we hit a replay before anything else happens. You can see Chin's here, like you said, with the gold armor. Some nice shots out onto Kobe. Here comes Siloa approaching from the doorway. And you see the, not just a little breakdown from FLC, but you're definitely having some communication with your team to be like, what went wrong in that moment?
Confirmation there. You could see the heavy assault vest there with 60 durability. So that is one grabbed off of a machine gunner or some other bot that has brought that along. As we see Gen push in again, and they got another knock, and this is Chin's picking up even more. He's on 4 kills now, and they are pushing aggressively on AGARTHA. Just 1 left up.
Dude, AGARTHA just wants their first kill of the day, and it's just Nasta live having to retreat back away. Very unfortunate for the way this just went down from AGARTHA, because Gen could essentially just sit on top of those bodies. No regain for AGARTHA. Now, WLG starting to head this direction. And the approach is here. The trade's going back and forth. Scooby fooled at Selin and Oko, holding it down for WLG. The hip fire through the chaos connects onto Hannah. You just have to find the last member of Gen. There go the shots, and there goes the wipe. WLG, very impressive.
Great work from WLG. Chin managed to pick up 5 kills individually before that ended, so they won't be mad about that. That's a decent amount of points to get out of Tide Prison. Just 1 left here. This is Nast from AGARTHA. It's fun. I was watching that go off and thinking, wow, it's nice seeing things kick off so early on Tide Prison, even though we're under 5 minutes on the clock, but it's still kind of early for a Tide Prison game.
He's like, hi, don't mind me. Just gonna take the homies back, pull them up, hit a little reset. Might as well. Let's look back on the replay, though.
Yeah, that's Chin's getting a bit more done, but then pushed in the end by WLG. Well timed by them. Played that well. They got 4 kills on the board from that for WLG, so decent points for them. Decent points for Jen at the moment. I'm not sure anyone else has picked up too many. Alliance is still playing with 2 members. They lost Grind earlier on. AGARTHA still on 1. They didn't get the revive. Looks like it's been interrupted by a barrage of EMPs, another utility as MBO. They're pushing this. They also don't have a kill. AGARTHA and MBO, no kills so far today going into this game.
So weird that we say that about NBO, but when we were defending the Mandelbrick over in Royal Museum for them, it just didn't go their way, and Nast has to focus on healing after picking up a knock on Enter. Do see Oko leave the map from WLG. That Pip showed the extract. Now back to the fight.
Yep, and that's going to be that M82 I think we saw getting acquired, I imagine. That's going to be from the bag. Was that? No, it wasn't actually bagless extract, so it would have been down on the south point in the water that WLG actually sent someone out there. Bagless hasn't been taken right now. There's only 2.5 minutes, so there is a little bit of time. AGARTHA did manage to get 1 kill on the board, and MBO, so everyone's got at least 1 kill point now, but AGARTHA have been wiped. WLG left with 2, Alliance left with 2, MBO going to be back up to 3, and we're going to have 2 minutes for our players to try and get some more kills here, and WLG want them.
Dun-dun-dun. Oh, Matthias. Okay, Res coming through. Thought that was going to be a little different. Instead, it's Selen going nuclear, picking up some massive damage, getting 4 kills alone for that team. WLG still have a duo on the board. It's a 2v2 against the boys at Alliance who have no kills right now. And I say 2v2, but Easy, you know, he's on a journey elsewhere.
Showing off with the buoyancy device as well. This is the unique red on Prison that you need for your final upgrade to give you all the swimming buffs and the underwater breathing buffs, by the way. If you're not somebody who's played a lot of Tide Prison, that's what it looks like, and it can spawn there, but you can't take it out through bagless because it's absolutely enormous, so that's probably going to get left on the map either way. Got this 2v2 here, and WLG get a bonus kill there, really, because MBO managed to pick up their res just in time to feed an extra kill to WLG as they ran in. So, yeah, quite kind of MBO for a WLG there.
Curious if we were going to see a 2v1, but the members still left on Tide Prison are just all over the place. Lynx is hunting here throughout. However, just under a minute, and you're going to look for the operators and see if anyone's down here. Connect to 0. You're like, okay, wait, there it is. Scooby. Oh, stop. Easy. Into the water we go. Who's the real shark?
Gonna try and get him underwater. It's not easy to do. You can only throw the disc or shoot from the top unless you're a hackler. You can throw your data knives when you're under there. So it looks like Scooby is going to potentially go out of the map. I don't think they have a ton of value, but you know, every little bit counts. 20 seconds left. I think that's where it's going to end. No, we might see Selen go down as well. It's a 1v1 basically between Lynx and Selen here with Easy separated.
All right, less than 10 seconds to go. Will we be able to grab Selen? Lynx still looking for angles. Might run into each other, but for now, I don't believe they will both survive. Congratulations. Tide Prison done and dusted for the group stages. Let's see who made the most of it.
Like a pretty good little game for WLG there. They're starting to find their feet in today's match. They ended up with, I think, 5.6 mil extracted, maybe a bit less with that last player that was going to stay on the map. But they got 2 out there, 1 through bagless, 1 through the south extract. So they'll be pleased with that. A couple of teams picking up some decent kills there, and then they can use those squad points when we go on to Space City in a moment and get a chance at Mandelbrick again.
Okay. There's a good look at WLG's Oko as we keep on seeing. Let's go. Best team WLG right there on your screen. 7 kills, just under 5 million assets gained, 1k damage. We take that. We take that. We had 6 kills from Alliance in map 1, 8 kills in map 2 from FLC, and now 7 from WLG in Tide Prison. We do have to give shout outs to Genius though. Some good moves from Chins, making the most with 5 kills and 1 on Hannah.
A very decent game for Genius and WLG. None of the other teams really getting too much from that. Just a 1 kill apiece for number 1 AGARTHA and 0 for the others. There is Chins with the 5 individual kills. 3 of those we saw him pick up very quickly on FLC. I think it was in quick succession. Selen grabbing 4, and Scooby also making the top 3 with Chins with his large amount of damage. And Scooby and then Hannah making up the top 3 of our damage dealers for today.
All right, here's our top assisters. Kilo there, grabbing 4, Hannah with 3, and Scooby rounding out the top 3. Scooby at the end near the water by the extract. Thought was going to try to do something over there. Still, Oko getting out. Scooby as well. Some big asset earners here on our top 3.
Yep, that's the 2 we saw extract, but it is Chins rather, from Gen grabbing MVP in round 3 on Tide Prison. Great solo effort from Chins. They're getting some valuable points. 5 kills, that's 5 squad points for Team Genius when we see the updated leaderboard in a short while. They don't have a brick yet, but there's every opportunity for them to get one. They've had 2 winning days in the past so far, so they will be hoping that they can make that happen today and get themselves up into that top 2.
Would be really crazy to see them grab another match day win, but it all comes down to Space City. Our final eco round of the day done and dusted. We do know that Alliance has 1 brick from Brakkesh, and they will be in win condition upon our first Space City game. But who knows? We could go the distance. Someone else could grab a brick. We'll have to see coming up after this break.
Two members, now the odds are in their favor, 2v1. Everything getting spammed away, and MT getting a little solo. Hang on a second, NL. Look at that, it's an absolute sweat. This, and LG's gotta know that they're here. Lines them up, even through the shot, you're nuts. For the last remaining 3 BOV, they find 2 instant knocks. The Elm's gonna be hopping out for that.
I'm Chuba. I'm the IGL of AGT team. I play Assault and Support. I play on the alpha test on the 2024 August. I played all the months in Delta Force. I really enjoyed the game. After this, I'm waiting for the release on the 5th December 2024. And after this, I never leave the game. AGT is a fully French roster based on a good relationship. So before we are teammates, we are friends. So we played a lot together. There is Nast and Yaku, so 2 French guys play with me. 2 guys with very good potential and very good decision making. We have a very good roster to play on this tournament this year. Like I can say before, we have a very good synergy. We can see in the scrim results and the statistic, we have every time the biggest amount of assists. We play every time together. So we have very good collaboration, our team spirit. So I think it's our big good point for this tournament. I would say practice, found some good friends. Because the mentality is important in Delta Force. It's not just how you shoot, how you're clicking on the game. When you want to take this seriously and you want to practice some scrim and make tournaments, you have to find some good person with good mentality, good personality. And after this, you can go over and play the game and just win and take pleasure in the game.
got the Mandelbrick. Find and stop them. Mandelbrick decoded. Nice work, operator. The time to strike is now. Do not let me down, operator. Decoding has begun. Defend the area.
Is about to take the first brick of the tournament. And they're going to do it.
What goes around, comes around.
Not gonna do very much though. You get barrel stuff. Skitey is getting aggressive.
See what I did there? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Let's knock them off their feet.
There we go. Down from there it is.
And we're back with the Delta Force Rise Series EMEA, where legends extract, y'all. You saw it. Some brilliant interviews there that we've got going on during the break. But guys, I hope you're locked in. I hope you're ready because we're about to get underway with our next Mandelbrick round, and I am feeling some type of way about it. We haven't ended in Game 4 at all this weekend because it's been all about getting up the leaderboard, making the best effort you can to get into those finals next weekend. So now we're playing for top 2, Alliance on win condition.
Yep, 3 teams playing today have a chance to finish in that top 2 still, give you automatic promotion to the final, grand final day, and 3 of our teams sort of battling down the other end of the table as we see Alliance obviously at the top with the Mandelbrick. They're on 15 squad points. WLG now leading the way on squad points, so that's great work from them. They got a bunch of kills in that last game there, so if they get another Mandelbrick and the points stay the same, they will jump ahead of Alliance on that leaderboard. And WLG, one of the teams that is trying to get one of those top 2 spots, and they're in the strongest position right now. They're sitting second in the table at the moment.
Ooh, yeah. Honestly, they gotta be consistent, right? Like, and they're doing exactly that with their squad points. For AGARTHA and number 1, who were looking for some of their first kills to at least get some scoreline there, starting to move. But the rubber band from number 1's win on their last match day down to 5th right now is probably got them feeling a little, you know, maybe some things didn't work out early on. But honestly, we've seen so many teams take a Mandelbrick in Game 4, take another one in Game 5, and basically just ace it out after that point. We'll see, can Alliance do that here as we get a look at our map rotation, guys. It's Space City, Space City, Space City. And then who knows if we get Game 7. If we get Game 7, would love to see us go back Brakkesh. It's one of my favorite rounds with the Mandelbrick, but we'll see.
Yeah, been a little while since I've seen a Game 7. I haven't seen a single round 4, I don't think, from EMEA so far, but it can happen. You never quite know what's going to happen when we end up on Space City. What we do know is that 2 of our teams have already used their Tempest, or one of their Tempests, so wouldn't be surprised if we see Genius and number 1 decide to not bring one this game and just save that for a little bit later on. All of our other teams have both still available. Why is Tempest so valuable? Because she can deploy those ropes, then she can run out, she can try and grab the brick and then bungee back to where she started, either after getting knocked or after grabbing the brick, and then self-res as well. It's super powerful for these Mandelbrick games.
It truly is. You can see that's why she's got a 21% pick rate for Space City. Of course, Luna and Stinger, we did have, I believe it was potentially AGARTHA that brought in a Luna on 0 Dam for round 1. But for our spawns, WLG and FLC had the tier 1s on Tide Prison and will not be eligible to have tier 1 spawns on the first map of Space City. The only people that can actually qualify that are going to be Alliance, number 1, AGARTHA, or Genius.
Yeah, Alliance will be pretty happy with that. They're guaranteed a good spawn here, and they're already on a brick. Even the 2 tier 2 spawns on this map, you can really get to the Mandelbrick area just about as easily as you can from the tier 1s, I would say. So Alliance going to be happy about that.
You know, chat's going to be happy about this if Alliance are happy about that, because I got one more break giveaway before we get into Space City. A redeemable code for 1,000 Delta tickets is going to appear on your screen. Redeem it as quickly as you can before all of them have been claimed. There's only 15 redemptions. It's like that commercial where the guy's got like the dollar bill on the fishing hook and he's like, oh, you got to be quicker than that.
Yep.
I don't know if you
15.
probably saw that over the UK now that I think about that. I was like, that's totally an American thing. My bad, homie.
That one's gone right over my head there. Right over my head. You see AGARTHA here. They get the dormitory spawn. This is where the camera always starts when we play on Space City, because this is where the first engagement always is. Down at Westgate, I say that. This is the other one going across employee passage. No knocks picked up there. They got across safely. So WLG, they're the ones trying to get through Westgate here. And yeah, looks like they're already pretty clean through.
Oh, we are sprinting, we are moving, and we are trying to get, you're right, out of there. And for now, all is well. Alliance filtering through that central command bridge down towards kind of the main area. We get a good look at the map. Who is going to be the one to jump on that Mandelbrick once it spawns in about 10 seconds? WLG, FLC kind of skirting the line on the southeastern side, and NBO making their presence known. Wait, I do see a knock and a full. Looks like Jen picks up easy from Alliance on the cross.
Yeah, Hannah grabbing that one. Also worth noting that Gen have decided to bring in Tempest. So that's their second Tempest used up already in Game 4. They're going for it. Also bringing a whole bunch of gold armor as we see WLG Scooby grabbing the brick pretty cleanly there. No one was really ready to contest that. They're going to run straight back. And looks like they have control of that area as well. So expect the decode in the buoyancy area here to pop up short. You can see them running up to it just on the sort of X-ray vision that we're blessed with as viewers and casters here. You can see Scooby run over. It's a pretty commonly used decode spot, right? We did see Dormitory go down yesterday. It's always an interesting one, but this buoyancy one is definitely one of the most popular.
It is kind of the all reliable of the decoding stations that we get on Space City. So down and out, and the setup begins for WLG. They at least have the Tempest. Got to maximize their cooldown on ults to defend. But would be interesting. Friendly reminder, guys. Alliance, the only team of 2 right now, is the one on win condition. And here we go. Grind makes their way back to easy to hit the reset.
They've managed to move that body back quite well there. You know, if you're surprised that Gen didn't decide to fully commit and push in and try and wipe them, this isn't pubs. You know, their goal isn't to try and get in, wipe a team, grab their loot and get off the map. They're thinking Mandelbrick. So, you know, it's good work for them. It's a bit of a war of attrition. You manage to pick a knock that uses up enemy teams' heals. It uses their repairs. It puts them on last life, of course. If they go down again, they'll be fully out. But, you know, the priority for Gen is to, you know, use that space they've opened up for themselves. They put Alliance on the back foot, and then they can try and get themselves in a better position to get that brick, which is currently being decoded by WLG with just under 3 minutes.
Good vibes. I was curious to see, you mentioned Genius kind of bringing in a ton of gold. Very heavy investment for this round. We do know that FLC had extracted with the AWM and the M82, and I'm curious if they brought something like that in. Maybe I missed it, but we'll check in with that later. They are running kind of that typical operator comp.
Yeah,
for Alliance.
Yeah, I've not seen one of those big. Oh well, yeah, there with that. So this is what WLG. I think they picked that up on Tide Prison. There's a mission, a sort of special flagship mission you can do on Tide Prison. That will give you the gun that you can see there with the slap ammo, one of the newer additions to the game. So that's where WLG got that one from. And then, as Tiff was saying, it was FLC who were farming them in the first 2 games on Zero Dam and Brakkesh. So not sure if FLC brought those along, but we're seeing some fighting kicking off near the brick here, which is good because 90 seconds, this is the point where you need it to start. If it doesn't start by this point, then you could probably see WLG just getting the free brick.
That would be crazy for the final day of the group stage, just to get a free brick on Space City round 1, because you can't assume, you never know. Oh, there it is. That'll connect straight onto Genius.
Yep, no shot wasted there. That was a great hit. And taking fire as they move the body as well. Going to lose 2 here. That's FLC. And this is such a strong position, and one that often ends up helping the brick. This is FLC I'm talking about down in Hudson on the dock area, because they're going to shoot any team on the ramp in the back, and that removes one team that's contesting the brick from the equation, which is going to be something WLG are very grateful for. So unless FLC decide to push up and take the ramp themselves, that's actually just going to help the team taking the brick.
Definitely, because the time is just ticking down as we're about to hit 40 seconds. And with Genius's heavy investment into this round, it's kind of unfortunate they're down to just a solo. Good look at where that decode is going down. Scooby kind of on that angle. AGARTHA now from below, just kind of ascending back. And Selen actually extends out. Here it is, though. Do we catch Scooby or Selen off guard?
Here it is. They've left it very late. We do see Nast move in on the brick. Yes, is going to be able to grab this. Does get a nice knock on Selen there. So AGARTHA, they've got control of the brick. They don't have many kills today, but they do have a brick decoding right now. That's great work from them. They're not in a good position to defend that brick right now, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see someone else come and grab that while WLG maybe try and get their res on Selen. But that is nice work. That resets it, and that's what we want to see. We don't want to see any free bricks given away. Not today, not on the final day. We want to see our teams fight to death, and that's another death from Scooby on Cook this time with that gun.
I like see the bolt arrow through that doorway as he rips Selen back into the cover to hit the reset. Okay, here we go for WLG. Plenty of time on the clock still for AGARTHA, though, on the decode. Keep tabs on that. NBO kind of on the northern side of that passageway was peeking up. You had Matthias just overlooking. So the team currently decoding on your screen right now. The battle definitely going to break out as we look to defend this.
Two of our teams now up in the upstairs area of Centrifuge. We're going to see those snipes coming in. When you got bullets that hit that hard, you don't need to hit the headshots. This is the snipes from Silo at FLC. We were talking about getting the hits in the back on that ramp position, how powerful it is. And then Nas getting the kill. That got them the brick, and that stopped, you know, that denied it. Otherwise, that would have been a free brick for WLG. He was the only player that could have got that there.
And definitely plenty of time still left on Space City to trade hands back and forth as Alliance want to get back into it as well. Easy, fresh off a Tempest ult, is going to get out of jail free card right there. And they can reapproach again at a later time.
Gen still sitting on just one player, no revives for them. As we see FLC, they have decided to push up from the docks. They sort of moved up once before when that Mandelbrick was nearly decoded, then backed off again to Hudson. Now they're making another approach, and they're going to get a pretty easy steal here because AGARTHA are nowhere near the brick. They're just busy having their fight at the moment, and they'll keep an eye on that time. But it's gone over to FLC for the time being, and they're in a much better position to actually defend the brick here from the ramp. They don't really have a full team behind them. Well, actually, see the mini-map, Alliance, they are sending someone around to get behind that ramp a little bit.
All right, time ticking down. Tempest ult going out from Kobe. And we are sprinting across the way. Siloa now with Smangles. The FLC with the decode still. Let's get it.
Yeah, FLC's turn now to get shot in the back while they're sitting on the ramp. I think the last remember player from Genius has just gone off to hide and wait and see if they can get anything from this. Like you said a minute ago, they'd invested so much in this. Their second Tempest, loads of gold armor, which I think FLC might now be wearing. And they're not really looking like they're going to get anything from it. FLC, 2 minutes left on the decode. All of our teams close in around the position, so expect this to get traded. Plenty of time on the match clock, 9 minutes, so you know, we're not going to be running out of time for a little while yet. But Jex very close to the brick here, strong defensive position.
Yeah, he's playing pretty up ahead for sure. And NBO, like I said, has just been on that northern side of this area, constantly kind of peeking. AGARTHA, still where they've been playing from, and WLG have backed up just a smidge, still on the inside, and that's okay. There's still plenty of time to make a play for this. But the thing is, once they wait to a certain time, everyone kind of runs for it. You see Nast looking to do that. Luna at the back for FLC to throw the bolt arrows down and provide some intel for Jex.
Yep, trying to get the player on the brick there. Still with FLC here. They got a minute left. That was an unsuccessful attempt from AGARTHA. They used the Tempest ult to move in there. Wasn't able to get the rewards they wanted. So it's going to tick down. Selen, you can see up there, WLG. They're still in one side of Centrifuge upstairs. FLC down here in the courtyard, and then AGARTHA upstairs on the other side. MBO #1 and Alliance, they're the teams that haven't really got fully involved in this yet. They've been, throwing shots, getting some knocks, but we haven't really seen them make an attempt on the brick yet. So let's wait and see, because certainly Alliance have a Tempest. There is Enter from MBO.
All right. Will WLG go for it? You can see the Tempest ult just trying to suss out everything. Hit markers galore, but is actually going to be taken down by Siloa. Good defensive run there. The issue is Kobe's down. Jack still holding the decode. We're under 10 seconds. Grind can't make it through. He's fooled. AGARTHA now making the chance to try and swipe, but the time is just ticking. And FLC get the brick here on our first Space City of the day. Thanks to Jack staying alive. Still, the chaos going. It's Nast wiped out as AGARTHA falls.
Brilliant work from FLC there. Everyone just left it a little too late. You could see how close everyone was, but as you often see, they're all kind of hoping someone else would make the aggressive play. They'd take the risk and go for the brick. No one did. And you could just see that going for FLC. Everyone left it too late to go in. Looked like for a moment that maybe FLC might get wiped there by AGARTHA, and that would, of course, pause the decode, but they managed to keep one up, managed to keep Jax alive, and that's got them a brick. They're going to be on par now with Alliance. That's huge work from FLC. They've also got a massive amount of points, remember, from picking up kills in the previous round. So 23 squad points currently is going to keep them top.
Oh, okay. And WLG has to get Mixie over here. Down to a duo. Kilo was like kind of peeking in, seeing if he could maybe find some KP throughout in Lynx. Oh, that angle from Cook there.
Yep, nicely done by Cook. Oko down here for WLG. They've still got 2 up at the moment. We've got 6 minutes left here. Our players are going to be playing to get as many kills as they can, many squad points as they can. Maybe someone might try and sneak out and extract as well to bank a little bit of value. Those squad points going to come in critical now as we see multiple teams with Mandelbricks trying to battle out. Remember, Alliance really need to win today if they want to try and get in the guaranteed top 2 that gets them through to the grand final day directly. All these teams playing here will be playing in the grand final weekends. That's not a risk for them, but Alliance kind of need the win. FLC, them getting themselves a brick here, that's really solid. If they can just get a good haul of points today, they can basically keep themselves out of the 9th and 10th position that limits how much opportunity you get at the final weekend, basically. So that's great for FLC. That might be quite enough as we see Selen dropped here from Kilo. 1 up from Jen. Been there for a while.
Yeah, he's looking for those KP. They got 2 so far. And Scooby now descending on the stairs. Alliance, the angle onto Easy, and the clean shots. However, you just see him kind of backing on down. Wipes away, and NBO only 1 kill throughout all of their efforts.
Yeah, and MBO, like we were saying, they didn't really put any pressure on the brick, or enough pressure certainly on the brick there. So that one did go to another team. Not a huge amount of kills as well. Scooby with 1 here from WLG. They'll be disappointed not to get a brick out of that. It's Alliance and MBO left with 3 players up. Neither of those teams managing to acquire the brick this game. You can see on the squad points there, MBO and AGARTHA still lagging quite significantly behind the other teams on today's match. That's going to make things very tough for them. Even if they do grab a brick, they're going to be sitting pretty far behind those other 2 teams. You see a replay here.
Ooh, okay. Barricading across the table and just slamming them down. You love to see that. Scooby here, WLG, solo. Genius still has a solo on the table, and NBO and Alliance team of 3.
This is Kilo. They lost Hannah and Chins very early on, so been roaming around on his own for quite a while, having a lonely life on Space City. Lynx with the 1 kill, Scooby with the 1 kill. So many of the players actually on the map at the moment had a huge amount of kills. That was Kilo getting another one there. That was Scooby going down, so that's going to be a 4. That was the last member of WLG. So at least doing what he can to get some points despite no brick. They've got a good amount of squad points at the moment, Jen, so they are keeping themselves honest, keeping themselves in the game if they do manage to get a brick in one of our other upcoming Mandelbrick games.
Ooh, okay. Kilo with a potential multi-kill available to them. Instead, takes too much damage, recognizes that this is not the push that I need, still gets hunted down, the jump throughout. And now, Alliance heading straight towards NBO, and Matthias will be on the front line, trying to keep those angles and shout it out for the team. Instead, does it with ease on easy.
A great hit there from Matthias, well placed. That's going to give them the numbers advantage as we got 2.5 minutes left for this to play out. Alliance versus NBO. Remember, Alliance had that player knocked very early actually and picked the res. So they've done well to get back to 3 and keep that. But NBO losing one there. That's Enter dropped by Lynx. So traded back 2v2.
Okay. Good moves here. Duo v duo, but we're picking up the res on NBO and Grind keeping the pressure applied. Now back up on their feet. Lynx close. Focuses on Enter. Couldn't necessarily connect back onto Cook. And we are just swinging from different angles. But a big win here from Matthias. Could stop Alliance. Doesn't actually get the angle he wanted there.
Yeah, NBO could really do with just picking up all 3 of these kills, maximize their points from this game, stop them lagging behind quite as much as they have been. We'll wait and see what they manage to do. Obviously, none of these players are going to be leaving the map at this point. They are fighting to the death. And NBO have got 1 back up, and as I say that, they lose 1 again. So that's just going to be a Shep and a Stinger now against the Luna and the Stinger of Alliance.
You don't want to, like, give them individual 1v1s, but with how spread out Alliance are, NBO kind of sticking closer together. And just over a minute left for this fight.
Hear them dropping the PKs. That's a little Shep trap being placed down there, but they heard that and saw it and dealt with it pretty well. They're not going to fall for that one. Alliance look like they want to take this. They all want to get involved and try and get the kills. There's no point sitting around doing nothing. And Lynx gets dropped by Cook there. That makes it a 2v1. It's going to be 1 remaining for Alliance. Just Stinger left. Just Grind going to run away and heal with that Stinger. Little healing pistol there. 30 seconds though. Presumably going to try and take the fight. He does get one. Can he get the other? Does get the confirmation. Final engagement. The guy hits the trap. The Shep trap. Deadly use of it up close there and great work. Final kill.
Love to see it there. Love to see it. NBO last alive here on the map, grabbing some well-needed KP to kind of bolster their score line across the way. 5 total kills for Space City. The only thing they could have wanted more would be a Mandelbrick. Instead, that's going to go to FLC. So now, Alliance and FLC, 1 brick apiece. So we run it back and see the vibes. You know they're talking about it. Of course, they're going to be happy with the 5 kills. But now playing forward and deciding what we need to bring in to invest and how to approach the Mandelbrick on that next Space City, because they were on the horizon, just on the outskirts of the courtyard. They had kind of Matthias peeking back up and forth, but don't actually get involved. There were too many teams on those crosses.
Yeah, it's kind of the chaos we often see on Space City, isn't it? Where there's too many teams fighting around the brick and they're all bumping into each other and sort of stopping each other, pushing in to block the decode. We did see it traded a couple of times, but not too many. And it does go to FLC, who are going to be the best team of round 4. 5 kills for the guys, 1,200 damage nearly, and a very small amount of asset earned. But the biggest asset, of course, is that Mandelbrick that they grabbed.
Yeah, I mean, look, you had Jex kind of playing on the decode station itself, walks away with 2 kills, Silo on 2, Kobe on 1. Number 1, the only other team to grab 5 kills throughout. Genius and Alliance both grab 3, and a couple go the way of AGARTHA and WLG. WLG not going to be too pumped on that one, considering they were the ones that initiated the decode over there. These guys tied out at 2 kills apiece to round out the top 3.
Yep, Kilo and the others there. Kilo here also with top damage. Matthias and Siloa from FLC, MBO, and Gen there making up the top damages for that round. Pretty good amounts there. Just a nice joint on the assist from Kilo, Enter, and Siloa all picking up 1 apiece on that leaderboard. Yeah, WLG maybe not super happy with how that went. They are staying in second on the leaderboard at the moment, but they do need to keep defending that, and they need to get a Mandelbrick really to make sure they secure that second spot.
Here we have our round 4 winner, MVP. It's going to be NBO's Enter, who grabbed 2 kills, 1 assist, 375k damage. No, not 375k damage. That would be freaking insane. Don't mind me. I just read the assets gain Kane, and I was just like, well, I am making up things, Ben. What I do best.
Yeah, maybe Uzbishka might be dropping 375k damage in a game, but not in that Space City one. It kind of went, yeah, a bit as often we see from these space games, right? Teams getting shot in the back when they try and go up the ramp, and just an awkward one to go around. Teams weren't able to steal the brick in the end. But we're going to be back with another Space City game, another Mandelbrick potential game for our teams just after this short break.
Two members, now the odds are in their favor, 2v1. Everything getting spammed away, MT getting a little... So hang on a second, NL! Look at that, it's an absolute swing! This... And Ellis's got it when they're here, lines them up, even to the shot, you're nuts! For the last remaining 3 BOV, they find 2 instant knocks, the Elm's gonna be hopping off that.
Got the Mandelbrick. Find and stop them. Mandelbrick decoded. Nice work, operator. The time to strike is now. Do not let me down, operator. Decoding has begun. Defend the area.
Is about to take the first brick of the tournament. And they're going to do it.
What goes around, comes around.
Oh, I'm not going to do very much. Though. You get barrel stuff. Skydie is getting aggressive.
See what I did there? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Let's knock them off their feet.
There we go. Much damage, and there it is.
Two teams officially in win condition. FLC, Jax there on your screen, who was defending that decode on our first Space City round, looking quite nice as they walk away with a Mandelbrick. Can they ace it out and decide to go back to back here as we move into our next? Or will it be Alliance, who shows back up after their brick they got on Brakkesh?
Well, 1 win so far in Rise Season 1 for Alliance. 1 match day win. They got that in their week 2, I believe it was. They'll be hoping to replicate that. They've certainly got the ability in that squad. 22 squad points at the moment for FLC does put them top of that leaderboard, though, ahead of Alliance, who are on 18. Then everyone else is going to be behind that no matter what, because they don't have a brick yet. You can see WLG leading that charge at the moment, and then Genius number 1 and AGARTHA. AGARTHA pretty far behind on squad points now. WLG, though, are up there on squad points, so if they have one good game and grab a brick, we could see them suddenly jump up to the top of that leaderboard.
Crazy how quickly that works when we realize, hey guys, Mandelbricks, getting 2 of them is the only solid way to ensure your victory here on any match day, especially in the group series here. But everything coming down to the wire. There's that Alliance round 2 win over on Brakkesh, FLC most recently on Space City. And you think about kind of the differences. So many teams did invest, like Genius, you know, bringing in all gold. A couple of players expending all of the Tempest selections they have, not going to have that here on the next Space City round. So things are about to get pretty interesting. As you see, it's Genius who does not have Tempest. And they're the ones that brought in the goal. Oh, dang. Oh, dang, Genius.
Yeah, Genius maybe not making such smart decisions in that game. They have lost their Tempest and a whole load of gold armor, and you are restricted in this format as to how much gold armor and gold ammo you can actually, you know, buy throughout the tournament. It's not just whatever you have the money for you can get. So they're not going to have that gear left to use, as we see our popular operators. We saw them use loads there. That sting of smoke, so effective, particularly in that decode station where you see the long smoke placed down. You can guide it with the drones, and that's a very common way you'll see our teams push onto that decode, along with obviously the Tempest ult charging in on that.
Well, you see number 1 and WLG did get the tier 1 spawns on our prior Space City rounds, so not going to be eligible for getting them here on round number 5. Gosh, I'm just thinking about that Black Chamber from the other day where we had 17 different change of pace on that, but that's the past, and we just gotta focus on the future. For those of you at home that want to duke it out through the Season 2 Open qualifiers, well, registration is going to open on August 10th. Don't miss your chance to compete. Follow us on socials for all of the updates at DeltaForce_game across the way. And of course, you can also find more information on the website, playdeltaforce.com. Make sure you go in there, click on the Esports tab, check out all things for the Delta Force Rise series, so you can end up hunting Mandelbricks with the friends that you have the most chemistry with.
I'd love to see how well these land. Look at that lineup there from Matthias from MBO. They've obviously been practicing that from so far back to place it, you know, on the point where you actually swipe the key card. But interestingly there, FLC and Alliance, our 2 Mandelbrick teams, they both had the pro spawns. AGARTHA had the other one that's so strong, Central Command, and then Team Genius coming in via the bridge. But that's actually held FLC up here, although I'd say actually FLC chose not to push in aggressively there. You can see, you know, they didn't even all 3 of them push up to the gate in the first place. Silo was sitting really far back there, so they are waiting to see, you know, what happens. They're going to be patient when they move in, and I think MBO know that they haven't got in here. They probably not even swiped yet, right?
That is kind of interesting now that I think about it, because usually everyone full send straight across that entryway over towards the Mandelbrick, but instead a bit of a change of pace here. Smart plays, you can imagine, coming out from FLC, knowing that they are in win condition. Can say the same from Alliance as well, but they're actually closer towards the brick with Genius here on the staircase. Good look at it. Lynx kind of just above has that auto tank on the horizon. That explosion's definitely gonna alert Genius.
Full gold for Alliance as well. They're fully committing to this one. Tempest, full gold. A couple of our teams actually saving a Tempest, as we see Yaku goes to the brick, doesn't get it, gets dropped by Grind. They brought in a Tempest. Genius obviously don't have a Tempest left, but FLC, they do not have it. Well, they have 1 Tempest left used. Didn't bring one. AGARTHA, who are now down to just 1 member after that, also didn't bring in a Tempest, which might be the only consolation they can take from the start they've had to this game, unfortunately.
Playing for the next round there, I see. Meanwhile, we're just going to keep on kind of playing the heady on those stairs. Grind. Vibin', honestly. And Yaku's body on the brick. So sad.
just showing everybody how dangerous it is to go and try and grab that brick right now, as we see Grind still sitting just above. You can see MBO in the background there. They were the dormitory team we saw at the start. This is a replay of, yeah, this is Grind countering Yaku. All sorts of things flying in. No chance to grab that brick. And this was the other knock we didn't see. That was Tuba getting taken down by Jen there, and Yaku obviously
He's like,
not
whoa.
too happy with that.
Yeah, so that happened. That's all you can really say about that. Especially when you run it back and see where, which you know off that high ground. But Alliance, everyone kind of being a little more conservative about committing to grabbing the brick. And I don't blame him, especially after what just happened there.
Conservative is definitely the right word, particularly with FLCs, as we see them. FLC from the start, not committing to the Westgate, scouting out now with the Uluru. That's the recon they've decided to use there. They've got the Morse, but from further back, you can fire the rocket and have a look round. So they're just playing it very safe here. They've waited for MBO to leave. MBO now, you can see them positioned sort of in the middle now. Kind of a quite unusual play from FLC. You normally see the Westgate team either fully commit to go through, get attacked and fall in the water, get killed, or decide to push on and aggress on the dormitory. Not normally just kind of sit back and wait for the dorm team to leave. So I'm kind of interested how that plays out with MBO, because, you know, MBO, they know there's a team over there still.
You can see that Matthias on the minimap has positioned himself well to watch the Westgate, but also keep his eye on the southeastern side of things. I do want to note that FLC did bring in the AWM, and now I'm worried for Nost here on your screen. I don't know what more you could have done there, honestly, with the util giving out your position and multiple players kind of jumping straight towards you. Tough game there for AGARTHA.
AGARTHA not having a great day, unfortunately. That might end up leaving them sitting in that 9th place by the end of the day if they can't pull themselves off the bottom of the leaderboard, and that would mean they just play in the second of the Survivor days. We have 3 days of the finals going on next weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday and Saturday, the Survivor stages, where 2 teams from each will qualify for the grand finals, taking place on Sunday. The top 2 teams on the group leaderboard, that's going to be decided by the end of today, they go straight to that grand finals. But the team that's going to be sitting in 9th, they only get to play on the 2nd day of Survivors, and that's the position they're playing for. So AGARTHA, they're the ones at risk from that at the moment. They will be playing in the finals, but less opportunity to get themselves to the Sunday.
You see FLC there, kind of a Liru ulting through to scout their next move. Still making sure that they are hyper, just focusing on every angle. We cannot let anything happen. For the time being, not a single soul wants to touch the cursed Mandelbrick here.
Wondering what the flamethrower was doing there. He was running out in the courtyard trying to get involved with the brick. That could be a nuisance for anyone dealing with that. I'm sure they've left them alive deliberately to try and mess with other teams. There is the brick, unclaimed, not really been even attempted on yet, apart from by AGARTHA, and it didn't go well for them. So everyone else being patient with it, as we see Alliance here with their full gold kit. They're watching out from that ramp, but not making a play on it yet, despite having the Tempest.
All right, information trying to be had. Honestly, this is the slowest Space City round we've seen, and everyone's just checking angles, throwing out util, making sure, but it's going to be Genius chins themselves that dives in, grabs the Mandelbrick. Now the thing is, where is it going? Because Alliance yet again Grind says, I don't know about this one, Genius. We find the knock on Tequilo.
They do, but I'm curious where he goes here. It kind of looks like MBO are holding down that area where you might go to decode. Alliance obviously are over here near that black chamber one we saw used quite a lot over the past few matches. So Jen have to try and figure out where they go with this. And this is quite an unusual position to do that from. There's a sort of south option, but again, there's teams to run into, as we see Matthias from MBO looking for the angles here. They know they're there, though. Well countered with the molly. Does big damage.
The competition is heating up.
I love how they're just like staring at each other, but decode is here. Time on the board, 4 minutes. Now, with this happening just at like that 10 minute, 30 seconds or shy mark, it can only trade hands so many times if we think about how long it's going to take to fully decode. But for now, it's all Gen all day.
3.5 minutes on that decode. I thought MBO were upstairs guarding that decode, but they're actually downstairs underneath there. So clear run in for Gen to do that. They just took the revive, got back up to the 3-man, popped it in the same decode station we saw used in the last game. So they're going to be hoping they walk away with that one as it comes up to 3 minutes. You can see on a map feed there. FLC, they're still sitting in the dormitory, maybe having a little nap there. WLG moving in from the bridge, and then Alliance doing a crazy split here. Lynx is in Black Chamber, and then Easy and Grinder just wrap around the entire map. I guess just clearing out to get some intel, but yeah, quite a bizarre split as we see the AWM from FLC there.
Think they're gonna come in and play for the brick? I feel like it's time. I feel like it's time, FLC. If you want it, you have to take it yourself.
Brought the big guns in, haven't they? I guess they'll just wait for that count to get low, won't they? And they're gonna make their move in.
All right, Selin though gets caught out by Cook. Number 1 starting to get aggro as you see enter across the way. Oko drops the util and holds from the other side, and the dive on in straight into the line of fire as Oko looks to unleash, but instead NBO clutches. That's about having your teammates back. But what they don't know is there might be bigger fish to fry as Gen, fresh off a reset, lurk below, drops Cook, grabs the full.
Yep, WLG wiped by MBO there. They got 2 down. 1 is the Tempest, so that'll be up. There we go, that's enter up. But Cook down in a tougher position to deal with. This is kind of ideal for, the teams that are playing more patiently. This is what they were hoping would happen. You'd see some teams get eliminated, and then they try and play for the brick, and it's much easier to deal with that when you're not getting third-partied all the time as you try and move on to the decode station. So I wouldn't be surprised to see FLC coming to get involved now. Only 90 seconds left on the decode. Gen have it. They still have all 3 up, and this is where our team's going to prioritize that. Remember, we've got 4 teams left here. 2 of them are on 1 brick already.
That's actually a good shout. There's a 50% chance that we end here. For Gen, Hannah dropping the Uluru ult, looking for anyone that could potentially playing from the ramp. Too bad you're just gonna miss out on FLC, still filtering their way with a minute on the clock. A little concrete barrier coming out as well. For NBO, we recover Cook, we bring his body back on through, but this time might go the way of Genius, because you have to think the time we need to res, the time we need to push and break down Gen, but 2.5 seconds is all you need in order to swipe.
Alliance and FLC, they look like they're just too far away here. They're not going to get anywhere near that brick before that 30 seconds is up. MBO are going to be the only team to contest it, so I think this brick is very likely to go to Team Genius here, which would actually put them top of the leaderboard on the current squad points, although that will change by the end of this game once some more kills have come in, and you never know, someone might actually extract from Space City today as well. 13 seconds, Genius is sitting on the brick, and no one's even going for it here. MBO stuck downstairs, everyone else far away. It's gonna be Team Genius taking 3rd brick of the day on our game 5 Space City.
That's crazy.
Хорош.
Молодцы, парни.
Поинты, парни. Фулл поинты. Не упирайтесь. У нас в корпусе люди. Можем фулл сонар дождаться.
All right, good check-in with the boys at Genius. Fresh off a Mandelbrick decode with minimal resistance now with just over 6 minutes left on the map. Here comes NBO looking for some plays. Finds Hannah. He has the ult in the back pocket and could send it through the doorway. But Kilo's got an angle here.
Yeah, great work from Genius to take that, and they've done that without committing a Tempest as well, so well done to the guys. 3 kills as well, 1 kill apiece for Hannah, Kilo, and Chins. MBO been getting some good kills this game, but again, not getting the brick, and I guess Alliance and FLC, I know they're happy with the brick, but they just didn't move in. And FLC, especially, given they brought in that heavy weapon as well, it's a bit of a waste to see it not used. Maybe they might consider just sending someone out through bagless extract here, unless they want to get some kills for the squad points and saving that for another game.
I am really curious about the decision to not necessarily commit to that. Something had to have been known, right? Like they're like, I just don't think this is worth it for us. As you see Alliance kind of descend down towards that rocket extract. FLC haven't necessarily dived in per se onto some engagements, and I just feel like NBO and Gen are one bullet or two away from a full-fledged fight.
Yeah, Lions looking like they just want to get off the map here. Be curious if they get time to do that. Maybe the timers on some of these extracts are slightly lower on the comp servers than on pubs, so I don't think they'd all be down there if they can get off the map, so I'm sure that's what they're going to be doing. MBO here, still fighting. Cook is on last life. This is just the fight between MBO and Genius, the holders of the brick. And tough little spot for Matthias to get caught in there, especially when the util comes flying in.
All right, Shins. Turbo Blaster to counter that way, but you immediately dive down into the courtyard itself. NBO across. And Gen, where they recommit towards this. Matthias behind the server here. Back on the repair for the armor.
Crazy to see, that Mandelbrick gone, but still 4 full teams on the map with so much time left. Just shows how little life was invested in trying to take that brick, as we see kills traded here between FLC and Gen now.
Okay. Scanning for info, you can see, but the fact that this has not ended until now is crazy. Genius get the brick, Genius wiped, and it's FLC, Alliance, and NBO. All teams of 3 still on the map. FLC now starting to work their way, finishing up the ramp with Silua. Dude, they did bring in both. They brought in the M82 and the OM. And we don't connect there. And they're going to get the audio cue that this is something we do not want to repeat.
Seems like such a wild investment to have then not even gone to contest the brick, to kind of throw those away. That does seem like a bit of a misplay from FLC there. So we can see a little replay of some of the action. This is Hannah getting that knock we saw earlier on Cook from MBO, and then fighting on the ramp with FLC pulling up against Chins.
Good re-look at that. Looks like Grind is heading on over towards that bagless extract by Horizontal Test Workshop. The boys are still down by the rocket. For NBO, FLC across the way. Let's get into it, Jax. They're playing through the stairwell. Might pop off this for now.
Yeah, these are our 2 remaining teams in the fight. This is MBO and FLC back up to 3 and scrapping around where the Mandelbrick was decoded. Alliance is still down by Rocket. Not something you see get used super often, although we did see it literally yesterday, wasn't it? Or this weekend we saw one go with a kind of unusual game there. Grind, as you said, is over by bagless extract, so I'm not sure if that's just countering it, maybe hoping to pick up a cheeky kill if someone goes for it, or if they're not quite sure on the timings for the launch extracts. I can see that still counting down there. I know on pubs, I think it's 5.5 minutes you need. They had slightly less than that, but it might be just under, as we see Jex here take a little hit.
Oh, good. Little regain is needed down under 2 minutes, and start to wonder. Actually, good call from Grind, as he is not the only player heading towards the bagless extract. It's just Jax from FLC here, kind of keeping tabs on number 1. Now, what's Grind gonna do? Will he find Silua?
I mean, if Grind can, that might work out so well. Imagine he gets that kill, grabs the M82 or the Orm, and then takes bagless, and then steals that from them. I don't know how much ammo they have left, and here we are with Grind, but it goes the other way. Silo gets it, and that is not going to be, unfortunately for Alliance, a bit of a steal of the gun there. It's going to be extra loot in the pocket for FLC as they go through bagless. 1 minute left now.
Not necessarily the result that Grind was looking for, but that's okay. NBO picks up Jex, kind of breaking down his line of sight, and Kobe thought they were going to connect on that. Not happening. Silua out through the extract. And for now, Kobe disengages.
And Alliance have missed that extract there. I thought they were under the timer. You need 5.5 minutes from when you hit the laptop to get out there. It goes down to a minute countdown. And yeah, they're just outside of that. I can see on my map they got 38 seconds required to get out, and there's 20 seconds on the match. So Alliance won't be extracting with anybody now. They just left that a little bit too late, just like misread the timings. And now Kobe trying to get some shots on. Cook's been taken down again. So Cook is out of this. 8 seconds left, any time for a remaining point for FLC. They've got 3 on the board at the moment, but it's just Kobe left here.
Well, with that brick, I mean, now couple teams, 3 different teams going into win condition as we move into our 6th round of the day. Another Space City. Matthias there on your screen. You get that nice kill on FLC's Jex there towards the end. We have to wonder what was going on to prevent some of our teams from pushing onto that decode. Because NBO was hitting a reset. They had 1 minute left on the decode for Genius. And you see number 1 hitting a reset. We're like, okay, that time is not going to be beneficial for them to hit a clean reset and then push into the decode for Genius. So them hopping on it, grab 3 KP and a Mandelbrick decode, probably, I would say, the most simple one of the day.
Yeah, 100%. They've got that brick relatively comfortably there. There were 2 teams not even contested it, and a couple of teams were already eliminated from the round, so did make their life easier. Number 1, they're starting to get plenty of kills now, but they still don't have a brick. 5 for Enter, very impressive. But, they do need to get a Mandelbrick if they want to get onto that top half of the leaderboard now, because 3 teams have a brick, so you're going to have 3 teams with their own little leaderboard. As there you see Enter with the 5, 2 for Siloa and 1 for Kilo as well from Jen there.
Ooh, boy. Let's go. Tap damage dealer 700 from Enter. Matthias and Hannah kind of rounding out the top 3. And I was trying to think back on our B and C matchup that we saw most notably in week 2. Of course, Genius did win it. They had a brick in map 5 Space City, and they get a brick this week in round 5 at Space City. But walking away, top asset earners, of course, Silo at there, 1 million, but he's getting the extract, leaves in the horizontal test workshop extract, and of course, you're gonna be at the top of the assets accordingly.
Yep, the only player to leave the map there, and this is Enter, getting those 5 kills and becoming the MVP of round 5. Well deserved for the MBO player there, 700 damage. Very impressive as well. Pretty unusual space game there, like we said. 2 Mandelbrick teams who didn't push the Mandelbrick really at the end there. That let Jen get a relatively easy one and gives us 3 teams on win condition now, like you just said.
Yeah, it was quite unique. I mean, they were spread out throughout the courtyard. Alliance was more towards the ramp. You saw them try to make a play for it. Unfortunately, they lose the 1v1 on that initial push. Genius wraps it up with number 1 resetting. But guys, we still have so much more action to come. Will it end in Game 6 on Space City, or do we go to Game 7? We'll find out after this break.
Two members, now the odds are in their favor, 2v1. Everything getting spammed away, and MT getting a little... So, hang on a second, NL! Look at that! It's an absolute sweat! This... And Ellis's got him, they're here! Lines them up, even through the shot, you're nuts! For the last remaining 3 BOV, they find 2 instant knocks. The Elm's gonna be hopping off that.
Find and stop them. Mandelbrick decoded. Nice work, operator. The time to strike is now. Do not let me down, operator. Decoding has begun. Defend the area.
Is about to take the first brick of the tournament. They're going to do it.
What goes around comes around.
Not gonna do very much though. You get barrel stuff. Skydie is getting aggressive.
See what I did there? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Let's knock them off their feet.
There we go. Much damage and there it is.
The final rounds of our final day in the group series are just about to get underway. And with 3 separate teams holding a Mandelbrick, we could end here on Space City. And the boys at Alliance. Map number 2 is where they got their first brick on Brakkesh. Didn't quite chow for the decode, but Will Easy, Grind, and Lynx lock it in to fight for their chance to auto-qual to those finals next Sunday. Or will the boys at FLC fresh off a brick in map number 4? They have a chance, but it was a heavy investment for them coming in and also not being able to get themselves into that courtyard. Instead, it was Genius Ben that stood strong and got the decode.
It was, but FLC, you know, they're kind of doing enough for the moment to keep themselves out of that 9th position. That's kind of their goal today, not be 9th. At the moment, AGARTHA not really been performing well enough to move out of that position. So for FLC, they're doing enough. They need to make sure they score more points than AGARTHA. That's kind of their goal today. For the other 2 teams, though, for Alliance and for Genius, if they can get the double Mandelbrick win, they still have that chance of sneaking number 2 spot on the leaderboard from WLG and getting that auto qual.
You don't want to leave things to that survivor stage, having to potentially get a top 2 on either day. It's so much easier just to advance through that auto qual, right? Make your life easier. You can compete for that 60K first place. Stand strong, especially with Alliance being such a prestigious organization. They've been talking on the timeline throughout the week, getting geared up, hyping it up for the boys to get into the top 2. In terms of our operator selection of what's left for our potential final round on Space City, AGARTHA and FLC, the only 2 teams available with a Tempest.
Yeah, not much opportunity for operator choice left for our teams at the moment, but they do get reset. If we go all the way to game 7, if we have another game after this next one, then they will get the pick of the litter. They can bring in whoever they like. There's no restrictions on operators apart from, well, 2 max. You can turn up with 3 Tempests, but we have seen teams bring in 2. I've seen that once or twice in the final game, but we're not at that game yet. We're not at a game 7, so restricted operator choices still going to be an issue as we see our spawn opportunities for our teams. AGARTHA, WLG, number 1, and Genius, they have the tier 1 prios for this match.
That's so interesting. The 2 teams that had the tier 1 spawns don't actually chow for it, where Genius came in all the way from the water tank station spawn and get it. But I mean, it was a really tough initial decode, right? People didn't want to pick it up. You had AGARTHA that grab it and you lose out on Yaku immediately. So it was a lot more tough to grab the Mandelbrick. So we see it getting decoded later. For the spawns here, so curious to see what gets decided and how this shakes out for all 3 of our teams that have 1 brick.
Well, we're about to find out who's going to be the team at Westgate, what they're going to do. Are they going to go charging in? Are they going to charge up to dormitory, or are they going to sit back and relax like FLC? We're going to find out very shortly.
We'll also find out very shortly who's going to sign up for Season 2 Delta Force Rise Series. The open qualification registration opens there on August 10th. Make sure you follow us across all social medias at DeltaForce_game for all updates. Don't miss your chance to compete, guys. We want to be shouting over you on the Delta Force Rise series in Season 2. We want to be hyping y'all up, see what you've got to be able to take down. Will you make it towards the finals, survive the group stage, crash through the survival stage, do everything that you can? But for now, we'll kick things off with Alliance. Round 6 underway.
Yep, it's going to be Alliance versus Gen, the Dorm Westgate battle. Chins is going to be swiping. The other two are going to be tucking in that corner, but big hit sent onto MBO. We also see early shots often come in as they cross from Employee Passage there. That's the other tier 1 spawn. That'll be the team from the sort of sand north spawn, AGARTHA, putting those shots in, but no one knocked. They've got in, and we can see Genius have made their way in as well, despite Grind pushing out pretty aggressively behind them there. They've already got inside, so no early drops there. All our teams have made it in, and Genius are going to be pretty close to the brick after that.
10 seconds, plenty of time for them to kind of scout it out and decide what they want to do. With Alliance having dormitory, it's not like you're going to have Grind up on the area looking down on the station in which the Mandelbrick spawns. And instead, Chins, yet again, the same player from Genius that picked up the Mandelbrick. The D-Wolf here, Siloa, throwing it down, 2 bullets in the chamber. Can we make them worth something?
Yeah, investing a couple of shots there to try and stop the brick scampering away, but didn't happen as we see our team's operator choice there. AGARTHA and FLC, the teams with Tempest remaining, able to bring her in. No one else has one to play, and you can see a sort of smattering of gold armor there, a little bit for Cook and a little bit for Siloa, but I think most of our gold armor was been committed already in the earlier games and not really utilized, but big fight going on. Decode Gen have got the decode in. It's the same station once again. 4 minutes pretty much on the timer here.
And all the teams that were like, yeah, we didn't actually go to fight for the decode, were the teams like Alliance fighting up through the ramp, takes a ton of util straight to the face and decides we're going to approach it at a later moment in time. NBO elsewhere grabs a nice 400k item there as they kind of still need to make their way across. AGARTHA and FLC will be the last 2 teams to rotate in. Timing is all on their choice.
Yep, there you can see AGARTHA. They're coming in across Employee Passage. Silo are keeping an eye on that, but no shots there through the glass. It's WLG and Gen taking up the positions upstairs in Centrifuge. No one sitting directly on the brick. Gen are going to try and control it from the doorway. And then Alliance, you can see there, they've moved up the ramp. At the moment, I can see on the map, they don't have anyone down in Hudson, down in the docks, so they've got no worries about being shot in the back just yet, unless one of the Centrifuge teams rotates out. And they are playing for the brick here.
There it is. Easy swipes it. Now I was kind of looking at their operator composition and deciding what they could potentially use since we don't have a Tempest aside from FLC and AGARTHA being able to bring in their last one. They do have a Luru though. You can use that composite incendiary and filter it through the doorways, keep them at bay for time now on pushing. And also if someone hops the decode, you could light them up.
Yeah, some very useful utility across all their operators there as well. They've got the Morse for that ult, and also his little stuns he throws. They are very effective at slowing down enemies, revealing enemy positions, making them make a bit of noise, as we see the Morse ult actually deployed in there. That's going to be deployed by Gen as they try and see what is going on, make a little push across. Oko here from WOG. He's just going to back off onto the stairwell there. You can see on the map on the right, FLC. This time they decided to take up residency in Central Command. If they stay there till this brick decodes, I'm going to be livid.
You're going to riot. You're just going to go over there and be like, what are we guys? What are we doing? What are we doing, man? You extract, you get the AWM, you get an M82 in earlier rounds, you even grab more airdrops, you come in solid, ready to go, you already have 1 brick, you can win, and instead, Alliance now sitting in win condition with their 2 minutes left on the decode, and here come FLC.
They have decided to move in. Silo here swiping in, moving into that core area of Space City. That's where all the action usually is. Alliance still have the brick. It's gone under 2 minutes. Remember that decode timer on the Mandelbrick will reduce each time it gets stolen. So that's going to get shorter and shorter every time it gets pinched by another team, down to a minimum of 90 seconds, 1.5 minutes. So that's about where we're at the timer at the moment as Alliance try and hold this from the stairs here.
And WLG thought about peeking out instead. Forced back inside. Now Genius working in through the courtyard. It's gonna be Hannah. Shins looking to get towards that decode with about 1:15 seconds left. I wouldn't be shocked if it changes hands here, and it does. 3 minutes back up.
Yeah, good work from Genius there from the ramp. I think that was Hannah shooting down the Uluru rocket in the end. It was well placed. That was being sent in to try and block that steal, though I think it was maybe a touch late to have stopped it anyway. But good work nonetheless. This is the M82 with the slap ammo. Does have a bullet or two remaining in that one, but it's Gen decoding at the moment. Another one of our win condition teams. We've got Gen Alliance. Both had their hands on that brick so far. It's Gen with it at the moment.
All right. Tabs on NBO, fresh off taking the safes in Black Chamber. And test range, finding some nice items. Cook trying to find an angle. Onto Grind doesn't quite connect, but Alliance does know that someone is approaching from that side of things. And with 2 minutes on the horizon for Genius on the extract, you have to be quick about it. And if you're fighting teams on rotation, and this is what we were looking for, you had 2 bullets. I see none in the chamber. We connect onto Matthias.
Yeah, Matthias on the receiving end of those slap rounds. So taken out. That's another point on the board for FLC. They'll be pleased enough with that. They're still staying a little way out of the action here, and you can see them rotating actually through the test range. Every other team, they are condensed into a tiny little area. I mean, if you look at the mini-map, you can see all 5 teams basically in one shot, charging all over each other. But there's 90 seconds on the decode here. Gen have got Hannah pretty much sitting on the brick here. Everyone else is going to have to move in from outside. I'd really love to see number 1 maybe make a play on this brick. We haven't seen them on the bricks really at all today, but this is WLG getting ready for something.
That is something. That is something. They take down Hannah. FLC, you mentioned number 1 making a play for the brick. They'd already lost out on Matthias, and Cook joins them, so a solo to be had for number 1. It's just enter there, back down. For Genius, who have approached under a minute, have not gotten Hannah back up. Instead, NBO leaves the lobby.
Yeah, they do. And just 2 people defending the brick right now. This is the time for WLG to make a play. FLC have come in behind NBO, as you said, to take advantage of that situation. But there's only 40 seconds left here. Surely they can't defend this with 2. And now with 1. That was AGT Nasty. Sorry, from AGARTHA taking him down. So Genius down to 1. And decoding interrupted. They are down to 0. Gen have been wiped.
And everyone said, fine, I'll do it myself. Here comes FLC behind everyone. AGARTHA, Nast back up on their feet, so they'll be a duo for now. And WLG has just been pushed further and further into the centrifuge facility. Can't actually breach the doorway, and now with Lynx guarding them.
Kill feed. Ooh. Going crazy there for a minute. That was like the last 2 minutes of a tied prison game. We see all sorts of knocks popping off. FLC, they're just down to 2. They're getting some reses here. We saw Alliance just grabbing their knock there. That was easy. And Grind, they're going to get that res. And I think everyone here is going to reset. But we have lost 3 teams. We lost number 1. We lost AGARTHA. And we lost Gen. So it's going to be FLC, Alliance, and WLG fighting this out. Obviously, FLC and Alliance, both on match point. WLG, they are not. They have no brick yet.
But if WLG get this, we go to Game 7. Will we go to Brakkesh or Space City? Only WLG can bring us there. And then our last place squad selects between that map. But FLC and Alliance looking to close it out here. Alliance knows they have to play to perfection to get themselves into the top 2.
They do, and it's, you know, this is the top of the leaderboard, all playing each other here. These 3 remaining teams, as we see Selen taken down and finished there by Alliance, and that was AGARTHA. That was Nas versus Siloa, but we did see AGARTHA get wiped during that at the end, and there we go. That is Nas not happy. Once again, they've not had a great day so far. FLC, Alliance, and WLG all potentially fighting for that 2nd spot on the overall group leaderboard.
And as you kind of look around, we have a double Luna D-Wolf for WLG. Got that Morse Gizmo Uluru for Alliance. And that typical operator comp from FLC. The most number 1 pick. Here comes Uluru ult. It explodes right through the doorway. But Oko has not been able to get out of this vicinity, with FLC finally deciding to climb up and make their approach.
Alliance with the brick at the moment. Yeah, apologies, FLC not fighting for the top two. They are fighting further down the table, but Alliance and WLG, they are battling over that second spot. So if Alliance can get this double Mandelbrick win, that could well swap their place with WLG. Given the WLG is sitting outside, the Mandelbricks at the moment in 4th position would only net them 2 points. So this could still work for Alliance, which would be huge for them, and they got 45 seconds to make that happen.
I'm like holding my breath with this angle Selen has. Grind shows a shoulder, and a lot of util goes that way, but for now, we're okay. FLC, though, with 30 seconds on the clock for Alliance, dives on in, takes the siege thanks to the Tempest.
Great work from FLC. They took advantage of Alliance losing a player and now losing another, down to just Link, surely down to a wipe for WLG on Alliance. And now it's FLC versus WLG. This is going to be really interesting. FLC at the moment have the brick, 90 seconds on it, but it's actually WLG controlling the brick area. So they are going to grab this brick and be able to defend that position.
I think that, you know, WLG heard you when you were talking about Alliance kind of usurping the top 2 from them. And they're like, no, just wait. Just wait. Silo, on the other hand, though, could be a game changer, gives the information away that we're back on the ramp, which allows them to move up and be like, you know what? It's just 2.5 seconds. Let's swipe the decode. They haven't done it just yet, though, because they don't know where the remaining players are.
Does look like Selen is going for that now. Yep. So still 6 minutes on the clock, 90 seconds on this decode. That's a nice even 1v1 for the two teams here. WLG versus FLC. If FLC can claim this, then that would give them the win on the day, and that'd be a very nice way for them to finish the group stages. They'd be pleased to get directly through and play in both survival days. If WLG can take this brick, then that's going to guarantee them getting that second spot and getting automatic qualification to the finals. And it would also, well, it'd get them one. I think the 4th place, 3rd place, yeah, it might be tight.
It might be. I was gonna say Selen definitely knows, gave the comms to the team, hey, this is where FLC is approaching from. We need to lock it down, reapproach from a different angle, and you can see he's just backed off with Scooby still on the inside there. But you cannot lose all 3 because it will freeze the decode. This is more likely gonna brawl out now that they're under 30 seconds.
Curious to know what intel, you know, they have on this situation. WLG, do they know it's FLC decoding at the moment? You know, they probably be okay with this result. I think if FLC actually get the second brick and win this, they've got 8 seconds to do it. For FLC to come in and take it, they are going to push. Don't think they can make it happen. Surely no time here, and we might be going to game 7. No, interrupted. FLC, they've interrupted that with the wipe on WLG. They're going to get the second brick here, and that is going to be it in game 6.
Oh, reste ici, j'ai dit.
Parfait, l'exact.
GG, mais moi, ce qu'il y a.
Faut vous jouer comme ça, j'allais faire des trucs bizarres.
Ouais, calme-toi, oublie pas qu'il y a la com qui va passer, ils vont entendre ça, frérot, on va clair.
We see the vibes, the celebrations going through, but what I want is a replay of that fight and how FLC do everything to break down WLG in the final few seconds.
I think maybe 1 second left on the clock there when they got wipes, right? That was so tight, so close, and I think by doing that, potentially, we'll have to wait and see the leaderboard at the end because there is so many numbers running through my head right now, but I'm pretty sure that WLG, by FLC actually wiping them and winning this here, they still probably take that second spot because Alliance and Gen didn't manage to score big. And here is those final moments. Look at the clock, 1 second. Is it even going to tick onto 0?
Hey, and he just brushes the shoulder off. Siloa just like going in there, shooting straight, carving back to pick up the second player. Well done from FLC. That was absolutely disgusting.
Really dominant performance there as well. They're on 42 squad points. They've been playing well, and I love the contrast. We saw the player cam earlier with Silowa when they got wiped him on the earlier games, doing the hands together, praying, why me, why us, why are we having this bad luck? And then with that, brushing off the shoulder, very confident, and yeah, taking their 2 Mandelbrick win on space here.
Now I'm really curious because they were kind of around that mid pack, right? So what does that score line grabbing 10 points do for them? I'm hoping that they pretty much lock in for the most chances throughout the survivor stage after this performance.
Yeah, they've got to be. I mean, they've done everything they needed to, and it's kind of been what's happened this weekend, right, with the final games of the group stages for EMEA. We've seen the teams that needed to, or some of the teams that needed to put in a huge performance from lower down the table do so. We saw it yesterday with LFS, and we've seen it today with FLC, and that's going to be setting them up nicely going into finals weekend. Remember, finals weekend next weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for EMEA, for NA, and that is when our teams can try and fight to win the big money.
Ooh, it's going to be crazy. The potential for a 60K first place finish. And FLC, the salutes going around for the boys after a dominant showing. We'll take that special extract and get on out of here. FLC for the win on our final group stage day here on the EMEA side of things.
On 0 seconds on the timer from going to a game 7, but it's game 6 where we finish, and I can't wait to see this update, the leaderboard when we get it. I'm sure our teams are trying to work it out in their heads as well and see where we go. Also interested to see who our top killers are so far. Of course, we're going to get the MVP awards, and there is also an MVP award overall for the tournament with a big prize associated, and our teams are getting that kill bonus, right? $50 for every kill, and there's been a lot of killing going on.
Yeah, truly has. And let's go ahead and look at our best team of that game. Round 6, Space City is going to go the way of FLC. 9 kills, 11.2 million asset gained, plus a decode. And I'm not going to lie, it was very impressive in which they laid siege in the less than 10 seconds to go. As you said it, 0 seconds, they had to do it, and they did. God, that's crazy. WLG, though, 5 kills. Alliance with a nice 3. None for Genius #1, and AGARTHA just could not get things working in their favor on round 6.
No, not a great day from AGARTHA, unfortunately, but they're all through to the finals at least, as we see Jex from FLC grabbing 4 kills, taking the top killer for round 6. Scooby and Kobe both tied on 3, and then our damage leaders much tighter there, 700 or so for Jex, 600 for Scooby, and very similar for Lynx from Team Alliance, as we see 6 assists for Silo there as well. Great work from FLC, actually taking the whole assist leaderboard, although not surprised because they got 9 kills in that round.
Same with the top asset earners, all being the boys from FLC, all extracting there towards the end. Some big numbers going their way. And of course, our round 6 MVP is going to be none other than Siloa. 2 kills, 6 assists. Just really, honestly, shooting straight there towards the end. That was such a valuable fight. Like, that push from Siloa there is everything for that game.
They played it really well. In some ways, quite similar to how they started the game before, where they moved in too late. But this time they rotated in, they came across the bridge, got that knock with the M82 on the back of #1, and then used that to move in behind. They just kind of waited for teams to get thinned out, and that makes it much easier to try and get that brick at the end by being, one of those last few teams remaining alive.
Yeah, now I'm curious, because if we do get to interview one of them, I'm like, I just want to know what the comms were like in the game just prior to when you win. Like, what was the decision made not to push into that? Are we conserving things? Did you know you had it in the bag? Regardless, they get it done in game number 6. And we did have a game 7 the last time we did witness groups B and C playing together and with no teams hitting a double brick. So the times are definitely changing here in our final group stage day.
Yeah, great double brick from FLC, and as we saw, loads of kills as well. It's just going to give them a lot of confidence going into the finals weekend, right? We've seen strong performances from them today. We saw great performances from DE and LFS going in from yesterday's games. So, those are maybe going to be teams going in feeling like they have some momentum when we get our first survival games going on. Although, of course, DE, they're not going to have to play in the survival games because I think they're probably going to be top of the leaderboard after today. But we will get the updated leaderboard very shortly, and we can see exactly where everyone's sitting after this, 4 weeks of group stages we've just finished?
It was absolutely wild, super electric. But of course, we do have pretty much the end of season 1 approaching just next week. And you're right, with the survival stage and the finals on Sunday. But if you guys are still interested in signing up for season 2, that registration does open on August 10th. Information populated below. Make sure you go follow us on social media at @DeltaForce_game. Updates will be shared there across the way. Hopefully you can take some dubs through those open qualifiers, the absolute gauntlet that they are, so that you can be one of the teams playing in our Delta Force Rise series season 2.
Absolutely. And don't forget also, the last giveaway is up now. You can type !giveaway in chat. You can win 3,000 Delta tickets, right? And that is going to be going for the next minute. So get that spammer with going for the next few minutes. Make sure you type that in chat to give yourself a chance to win.
Get all the W's. Nice job, Ben. We're getting them up to date on season 2 on Delta tickets. But hopefully, if you didn't win on this, you do have later chances and try it in Americas. But it's going to be really late for all of y'all, all the European side of things. If not, you might just have to wait to see what's going to happen on the survival stage. But we will figure things out. Now, Ben, so many different varieties of pacing that we have witnessed in this final week of our group stages, but it's been an absolute joy to see how everything played out.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed following along. I've been on the broadcast the last couple of weekends and following it closely through the whole group stages, and very interesting just, seeing teams develop, seeing them gel. They've had lots of time to scrim, but when you're playing in these high pressure tournament environments, that's when, it goes to a whole nother level. It's different to playing scrims. It's different to playing friendlies. And, teams have had to learn on the go. I think some of them have had to maybe adjust their tactics slightly. Some of them have had to maybe pull some other tactics out of the bag they've been keeping hidden away. And been interesting to see, just this flow on the leaderboard bouncing around. Alliance doing pretty well today. They had some strong days. And, I think it's been just generally very tight in EMEA. All our teams been fragging. And it could be anyone walking away with the prize next Sunday.
That's where I'm starting to think about. I'm like, who is going? When we find out our final 2 teams that are locked in for the Delta Force finals on Sunday, then who's going to survive through that survival stage? And I know it is not going to be easy, because you talk about scrims, you talk about what we saw in group stages, but I can only imagine that the games on Friday and Saturday are going to play so differently. And you are just going to have to be so on top of everything, minimizing those mistakes, because you have to place top 2 in either of those days to qualify for Sunday.
Yeah, you do. And here is our leaderboard from today's match. You can see the 26 kill points in them from FLC. They got 9 of those in the final game of the day, 42 squad points, of course, because they got the 3-man extract there as well. That gets them a whole bunch of supply points. And then a little tiebreaker there on kill points, I believe that goes to put Alliance ahead of Genius for 2nd and 3rd. And then WLG, MBO, and AGARTHA making up the bottom 3 on the leaderboard there. Yeah, so you do get you play 1 day of survival, right? If you finish top 2, that puts you through to grand finals. If you're one of the bottom 4, then you play again in the 2nd survival day on Saturday, and you get another attempt to be in one of those top 2. And that's when the team's in 9th and 10th overall on the group's leaderboard. They join in just on the Saturday. So those are the 2 opportunities for our teams to make up that final roster of 6 teams playing on the Sunday, joining the top 2 from the group's leaderboard. That's where you want to be if you want to win that big money, win that $60,000 for the top placing team.
And then you can call yourself the best of the best in the Delta Force Rise Series Season 1 EMEA. Tout it out, shout it out in your Twitter bios, put it on the resume, get crazy. But of course, our Match 12 top players on the screen. Your KD later, gonna be Jax. He's also your top kills, but a damage dealer goes to Lynx. And the asset earner, Siloa. Siloa did get out in, I believe, match number 5 as well. He took that 1v1 against Grind, tried to get out through the horizontal test workshop, and then he has that special extract in match number 12, just gets all that assets.
And there's our MVP from today. It is Jex from FLC, grabbing 12 kills today, over 2,000 individual damage, 3 assists, and 8 mil assets gained, thanks to that Extract right at the end there, very well deserved from Jex. They put in a strong performance today. Their strongest, one of their strongest of the whole group stage, really been very dominant. We thought they were playing it a little slow in the game before that, and it looked like maybe they were going a little slow in the final game, but it ended up just being the perfect tactics to grab that second Mandelbrick and go for a win in game 6. We were so close to game 7. We hit 0 seconds on the timer, but you get that squad wipe. That's just as good as a decode still.
We do talk about that. You're like, sometimes it's almost easier to get the full squad wipe and just pause the decode in general than it is to extend out and focus on that 2.5 second steal, which doesn't really seem like a lot, but when teams have set up like ironclad defenses around the decode station, you just get inundated with resources and those angles are impeccable. But of course, we do have an interview coming to you live from FLC. Jex, we're going to get you here on the broadcast. Congratulations coming into the final group stage. You get a match win. Let's go.
Yeah, indeed. Let's go. That's
let's go.
Really great.
No, the vibes are high. You guys absolutely crushed it. It was a huge performance. How does it feel to end the group stage with a win?
Feels nice. Gives the whole team more confidence for the following survival matches. We aimed for, honestly, we didn't aim for top 1 this match, because what we wanted to have as position was more like top 7, top 8, so we can have 2 days if we missed one or failed one to have 2 survival days. So that was the play initially, but well, we managed to win, let's say.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, it's got to give you great confidence going into next weekend. You will get to play those 2 survival days, so fantastic work there. We were watching you in game 5 when you're in the dormitory area, and you guys came in quite slow. Game 6, I was like, oh my god, are they going to do it again? But you just played it perfectly in game 6. Really nice timing with the M82 knock as well. That just felt like it all went really well for you, I imagine.
I heard you when you spoke about the game 5, when you mentioned that we got 2 big aim and Barret, so the M82. The thing is, we didn't want it to like in the Mandel, because that was not worth it. We didn't have much information. We tried to stay at spawn at the beginning, but we didn't have the information on the team that spawned in front of us. What have they done? Are they still trapping us or whatever? So we decided to play it slow. We're first position anyway, so no need to go and hint. Game 6, well, we saw an opportunity, so indeed we take it. And a big shout out to Kobe. I know some people are criticizing us about what the choices we're making, etc., but that's what brings us the victory today. So I think that, Kobe was a huge lead today. He did really, really great by leading us into this victory. We did listen to him. Big shout out to my colleague Silhouette too, my brother. He did great too today. We all did great. We worked a lot on our communications, executions, and well, it paid off.
Yeah, it definitely did. And people can criticize all they want, but at the end of the day, you're sitting here with the dub and you are doing everything that you can as a team to get into the finals next Sunday. Now, you mentioned you worked on your communication, you worked on all the chemistry, and it paid off. Are there some things that you're going to lock down this week ahead of the survival stage and try to kind of just focus on?
Well, again, communication, because for us that's really the key for the victory, because during execution sometimes you are in, let's say, auto mode, so basically you just focus on the aim, but you're not communicating what you're doing, but your mate doesn't have the same point of view than you, so it can miss information, etc. So that's what we worked during the this week, by the way. We worked a lot on that, and we also were working on our execution. So when we are inching a team all together, how we do it, why we do it, the stuff we're going to use, etc.
Perfect.
Yeah, so interesting to hear, the thought process behind your actions. We just see the pixels moving on the screen and the dots on the map, and so do the viewers at home. But to hear the thought process that obviously works so well for you guys today is super interesting. Before you let you go, is there anyone else you want to shout out? Anything you want to say to your fans, to your haters, anyone at home? You got the stage now. It's time to say it.
So big shout out to Rosenji. Rosenji is our sub. Big shout out to Sura, which is his sister, and she's our ambassador with FLC. Big shout out to all the guys, all the people that are behind us, supporting us, that we can see every day on Discord. Big shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for the support. And yeah, big shout out to my teammates, because we did really great today, and we showed everyone that do not underestimate FLC.
Well, that's perfect. Do not underestimate FLC. We'll see them next weekend, but for now, we're going to let you go celebrate with the boys, with the family, with the fans, and we will close things out and see you guys next weekend.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.
You as well. Well, honestly, I love it. I love getting the insight, because we were talking about it. We were like, what did the comms look like on that game 5? You hear it. They're like, our goal is to just come into this last group stage and make sure that we have 2 game days in play to get into the finals.
Yeah, just a couple of survival days left, and something small called a grand final coming up on Sunday. You can see Jex, the man we're just talking to, flying up that leaderboard there on position 5, 41 kills, only a few behind Nox now. So great work from Jex in FLC, and Siloer as well, also on 35 there. So they've been making a late surge up that kill leaderboard, and on the damage board, I imagine as well. Yeah, Siloer on 12k now.
Ooh, pretty nice there from FLC. And you also have Kobe there towards the end on 15th with 9k, but it's Uzbishka, and I'm curious to see what next weekend looks like for them, while they'll be waiting in that kind of regard to play inside the finals. As we keep on looking in terms of our tournament top asset gainers on our players, Full Array there locked into first place, but hey, Siloa there in third.
Big piles of money being brought out by some of our players. Siloa and FLC, we saw the whole team get out on Space. Not something you see super often, though. We've actually seen that comp-only extract used on Space twice this weekend now. So FLC making great use of that, just with their nicely paced game there. And we talked about it in game 1 when they were getting that, the M82 and the AWM, thinking, when is that going to come into play? And it did in the final game when it mattered. And here is the overall leaderboard, the bottom half of the table. You can see FNC and FLOORPOV we lost yesterday, and it is going to be AGARTHA joining LFS with the single survival day of the weekend.
Dang, by 4, number 1. After that huge show out they had on Friday, they win that match day. And that pretty much boosted them up towards mid-pack, did enough. They, kind of played it a little bit slower today. But as we look towards our overall leaderboard, we knew Dark Entities was going to be advancing onto the finals. They weren't playing here today, but it was all about who was going to be inside that top 2 alongside of them. And WLG may not have the best showing today, and that's okay. It was enough to keep them locked in to advance directly to the finals next Sunday. Alliance was one of the only teams that could rip them out of it, right? They just needed to hit the double Mandelbrick and come 2 points shy of making that happen.
Yeah, the 4th place was enough for WLG in the end. They just needed that, and for Alliance not to double Mandelbrick, and that's what happened. So they've done enough. That means DE and WLG, they don't have to play in the 2 Survivor days on Friday and Saturday. They go straight through to Sunday's grand final. They're going to be one of the only 6 teams involved in that, and you see the full leaderboard breakdown there after our 4 weeks of group stages, after all our teams have played all of their games. And this is where they sit: DE, WLG, Alliance, and FLC get themselves into the top half of the table. Love to see that. Really well deserved by them today. Really nicely played, and just such a ferocious final game as well.
It is now like a third finals lobby. It's all 4 of the teams are going to join Dark Entities and WLG on Sunday, looking for a 61st place. It's going to be honestly, I'd love to hear from teams that are advancing directly to the finals. We have Oko standing by to join us for an interview.
Yeah, we'll grab Oko in, I think, in just a moment from WLG. Going to find out what is going on. Here he is, the man. We saw you so much last weekend with your back-to-back wins, Oko. Great to see you again. How are you guys feeling after that? All fell into place in the end today.
To be honest, it was after losing the second space hitting, it was very, very weird. Team atmosphere was a bit just. We knew we needed to bring a brick home. But as the round developed, we figured out that Gen got killed. We needed to wipe Alliance, and we did. And when we heard the Tempest, we knew FLC was the last team alive. We knew we won already based on points, but obviously losing the Mandelbrick there was heartbreaking, kinda. We kind of trolled it as a team. Definitely a lot of mistakes to be learned, but obviously we're happy that we made it to finals. And yeah.
Good to hear from the perspective there on that last game as well with FLC. You mentioned you kind of had some mistakes happen. What are you guys working on this week to gear up and fight for that 60K first place in the finals?
To be honest, we just try to work on our already own strategies to hone them better. But yeah, something felt off today. We were with a different mindset playing. And yeah, that ended up costing us a lot, but at the end of the day, we brought it home. The room for error was big enough that we still managed to go through.
Yeah, you guys banked a lot of points last week that got you in this position, gave you a little wiggle room going into today. I think what we've seen over the group stages is any team is capable of getting a win on a match day, and I think when you get in the grand finals next weekend, there could be anyone's game, right? Or is there someone you particularly need to keep your eye on, do you think?
Depends on the semifinals. A lot of teams have been holding off a lot of strategies. So yeah, to be honest, I'm excited to kind of watch and see what every other team is doing toward on the semifinals from the outside perspective. Definitely will be. I will be here studying for the final.
I like that. Just get the notebook out, look for the strats that come out through Friday and Saturday,
Yes,
and you're like,
sir.
nothing's gonna pass me on Sunday. Okay, one last question, and I'll make it kind of a fun one. Is there a team in particular that you are looking to beat here on the finals day that would just make you happy to beat?
I would say that Alliance has been there all along us the entire way. We have been fighting them for the entire league. I'm definitely rooting for them to reach finals, but the team that I'm looking to beat is definitely DE. I'm looking to dominate.
Yeah, the only team to finish above you on the leaderboard, so why not show that dominance there. Oko, brilliant to have you here again. Your last day of the group stages for finals. Anything else you want to say to everyone watching at home after today's games?
No. I think that covers it. There's nothing else to say.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us here on the interview. Go rest up, get the notebook out, and we'll see you
Thank
next
you very
Sunday.
much.
Thanks, Oko.
Honestly, I love that. I love hearing like the specific teams that people are always like looking out. Of course, you want the best for everyone. You've kind of come up in the scene together, but you always have that one team that you're like, yeah, that's the one I want to beat.
Yeah, I've seen Oko in the Twitch chat. He was cheering on LFS ferociously yesterday, been cheering on Alliance, so it's really nice to see that, amongst the players in the comp scene. It is a tight scene. You can see the final group stages there, the Survivor matches, that's going to be coming up. So this is the bracket for next weekend, right? Survivor Stage 1, Match 1, that's going to be Alliance, NBA, Gen, FLC, Gotaga, and MBO fighting it out on Friday this week. And then day 2, that's when AGARTHA and LFS are going to join. And then the bottom 4 teams from that match 1 there, they're going to play in match 2. And then the top 2 will go through to the grand finals. DE, WLG, already sitting happily there.
I mean, I would definitely be happy as well. It is going to be an absolute gauntlet on that Survivor stage, match 1, match 2. But if you've got 2 chances to get first or second place on either Friday or Saturday, you have to be feeling just a little bit better about your odds. For AGARTHA and Living for Success, you better crank out those notebooks as well, because you're going to need to do all that VOD reviewing on Friday to hear and see any crazy little strats that might come out.
Yep, and here we can see those dates for you. August the 7th, Survivor Match 1. August the 8th, Survivor Match 2. And then on the 9th is going to be the finals. That is next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And don't forget, there's also NA going on as well. This has been the EMEA broadcast. If you wait around for a few hours and stay tuned, there's going to be a whole nother bunch of this going on as well, and that's going to be the NA teams fighting in their separate tournament as well, with a separate prize pool and another grand final. So if you can stay up late, you got enough time to invest next weekend, you can watch 2 grand finals.
It would be a crazy grand final day, but with 4 weeks of our group stages for EMEA finally done and dusted, you're right, Ben. We set our sights forward to the Survivor stage and the finals next weekend. I'll kick it over to you because I feel like I've got to have some final thoughts. I think this is our last time working together on the EMEA side of things, so...
Yeah, this is my last time on the Season 1 of Rise, but I can't wait to watch next weekend. And if you want to tune in for Season 2, remember, you can sign up and be a part of it. You don't just have to watch. So if you check the details down below, you can register from August the 10th. Get yourself involved, find a team, join in. We've got the open qualifiers. I was casting some of that stuff when it was going on before Season 1, and they were really lively games. You play a ton of games. It's full on, but it's also a great way to gel, to learn new tactics, to work with your teammates and grow as teams. And we've seen, many of the teams playing the grand finals this weekend came through that open qualifier stage.
That is very true. The open qualifiers show up, show out, and do your absolute best. We would love to see you in the Delta Force Rise Series Season 2. But for our group stages here on the EMEA side of things, we are over. We look forward to seeing you next weekend, same time, same place, to kick things off for our Survivor Stage Match 1.
Two members, now the odds are in their favor, 2v1. Everything getting spammed away, and MT getting a little... So, hang on a second, NL! Look at that! It's an absolute sweep! And LG's gotta know